No, hello, hello. Sorry, I missed the cue there. Good evening, everybody. We are here then in Bahrain then for round 14 then, and after round 13, a drivers' champion could be crowned tonight then here in the desert, and it could be Kieran there with leading the way then by 68 points, I believe that is. And of course, with 100 points, well, maybe that's actually 103 points on offer after this round. Then, including this round. Then, of course, we go into the final track vote of the season. Then next week, and then the finale at Abu Dhabi, of course. Then, so this could decide it. Then it depends on Kick Sauber. Then it depends on the Racing Bull of Equaz as well, to see if we can keep the challenge alive for another round or two. Then we'll wait and see. If it goes down to the finale, then Kieran is going to have some difficult times, let's just say that then. But we're hoping to see that a new champion crowned then, of course, Reflection, the reigning champion as it stands, as we go through then the driver standings as well. Then qualifying is underway then, so we'll just get ourselves sorted then through the constructor standings as well then. But of course, it's all coming down to the top then, to the heat at the top of the table, I should say then, as we go through into the constructors then. Of course, constructors a bit tighter there as well then between the Kick Sauber and the Racing Bulls, so that cannot be decided tonight then, so that will roll on then to the track vote next week then as well then. So we'll wait and see then how that one goes as well there. But no, it's not a track vote. It's Saudi Arabia then. What am I on about? Ignore me then. Never mind. There's no more track votes. It's Bahrain, Saudi Arabia then, and Abu Dhabi then to finish off the season. So we don't have to worry about any more track votes as well then. So that's that then. Into qualifying we go then, of course. And we are looking to see how it's going to fare then here in the qualifying outfit as well then. Of course, in the Kick Sauber, we've got Kaz then, who is the first driver out on circuit. So let's have a look and see what he can do then here in this opening stages of qualifying them with 15 minutes left on the timing screens. Evening all from the Mushroom as well then. ALR says Equaz as well then. Thank you very much to Equaz as well then for being a generous host as well then, of course, hosting the lobbies then throughout the season. Fast driving then says Mushroom then, have the ambulances on standby then. Goodness me. Well, we'll wait and see what Fast is going to be up to then in the Aston Martin, then jumping in then as a last minute reserve. And thank you very much then to Fast then for doing that. As here comes Kaz then in the Kick Sauber then for his first outing, the first lap of the session, and it's going to be in 28.4 then for the Kick Sauber then to set ourselves underway. Dark Tower with a 29.9 puts himself P2, as we've got a Red Bull of Marsky with a 29.1 then into P2, takes that spot away then onto the front row of the grid then as it stands. That's KD coming back into the pit lane then, unfortunately for KD. Equaz in with a 28.9 then puts himself P2 then onto the front row. Equaz needs to maximise the challenge and as well then for the Kick Sauber pair then as we go through then Vintage with, oh no, we've got Stravanza with a 28.3 then a tenth of a second, or less than a tenth of a second ahead of Kaz. Legend up to P3 and then with a 28.7 as well then, so both Hasses on fire then in the opening stages. Then Liam with a 28.8 then puts himself on the second row of the grid then. Fantastic stuff indeed. Reflection P6. Stephen Ante's done a 30.0, puts himself just behind his teammate here then. Cam goes fastest in the Racing Bulls then, that's a 28.2 then from Cam then, who's looking to reignite the charge as well then. And Kieran then jumps up to P3 then with a 28.4 as well, similar to his teammate there. So it's an all Alpine, it's an all green Kick Sauber row 2 as it stands, as we go through the first runs of qualifying then as well then. Good stuff indeed. Vintage and is I think still on a lap actually. He's found a couple of tenths of a second there in the second split then as well then, as we go through then into sector 3. So Vintage might be able to improve on his time as well then as we go through then into that final sector now. He's found 3 tenths of a second, then that would put him in proximity with the Mercedes pair ahead of him as we go through then down the back straight then towards that final corner now then for the McLaren driver. Then let's see where it's going to go then, as Vintage is very, very discernible then with that pink helmet sticking out of that orange car then, which is very good stuff indeed to see. As here comes Vintage to the line then, he's burnt all the battery then. What's it going to be? It's he doesn't find the time then. I think the battery then depleting then a bit too early there on that lap then, unfortunately, and he stays P12 for now then. Marsky then just getting out of the way then of cars coming through. I think Marsky might be looking to go for a second attempt here as well on his soft compound tyres then. I think he is going again then, is Marsky, so he's back underway. Liam coming back to the pits is P6 then, which is very good stuff indeed. Then Kieran coming back as well then, as is Cal. Oh god, that Mercedes flying through. And that was a Mercedes of Stephen Anthony then, who's coming back into the pit lane here then, and calling it a day then on his first outing and the first lap of the session, and of course the first time he's been out on track then for a long time for ALR anyway. As here we go then into the final corner for the mushroom then, the serious of mushrooms, and let's see what he can do then as he round that final corner, or two corners really, isn't it, but it counts as one really in my book. As up to the line then comes Mushroom, it's a 29.5, puts himself P10, slap bang in the middle. Good stuff indeed then from the Mushroom, very nice stuff indeed as well. Then Vintage is back out on circuit, but he's harvesting the battery there, and I think he might be looking to try and go for another attempt then, because that fuel light is not flashing away then just yet then, so he seems to be all good then. KD back out on track then, starting off another lap as well. Then Jamie James is back out on circuit as well then, looking to reignite the fight as well then in his next attempt then as well then, as we go through here then. Marvsky is coming through into sector 3. He's found 2.5 tenths of a second. That would put him into the range then of the third row of the grid, I think, as it stands. I didn't see what the Delta was saying there. But anyway, as we go down the hill then to finish off the lap then for the second attempt then for Marski, then let's see if this can be an improvement then to put himself up into the higher echelons then of the grid. As we round the final corner now, then battery light flashing away, then he's using everything he's got at his disposal, but he stays, although no, he goes up to P7 then. He does find 3 tenths of a second, and I thought he stayed P9 as he crossed the line there. But he's up to P7 then with a 28.8 then as well, then just behind Liam in the McLaren. Good stuff indeed. Vintage once again has gone out for another lap. Well, he stayed out for another lap, I should say. Then he's done 3, I think, and on these soft compound tyres. Then he's finding the time, and fair enough indeed. Then just getting a sighter in then as well. Then KD coming through then into the final sector now. Then let's see what the Delta is saying for KD. It's not saying anything because he hasn't set a time just yet. As we round the final couple of corners now, then down towards that that final stretch then into the final turn. And let's see where this is going to go then. Of course, KD then needs to get himself a first time on the board. And what will it be then from the Williams driver then as he crosses the line? It's going to be quite close to the top of the field, I think. No, it's going to be P10 with a 29.4 and slap bang in the middle as well then for the Williams driver then of KD with that fantastic livery then. Very good stuff indeed. I'm glad that livery is available then as well, it's not available to me, but it's available to some people. It's very odd seeing different liveries on the same car then, as especially from a commentator's point of view. Anyway, Jamie James then unfortunately has had an issue somewhere. He's invalidated his time, but he's going again, I think. Then he's going to have time to go again. Then Vintage does improve to 29.9. He finds almost half a second then in that time then, and puts himself ahead of the Mercedes pair as it stands. Then Reflection back out on track as well. Then Marsky has had an issue somewhere. He's invalidated his time, I should say, as Liam starts off another lap as well then. So Marsky coming back into the pit lane here then. Reflection, I think it's Reflection, he's further ahead then. Let's have a look and see what Reflection's up to. He's gone purple in sector 1 then. He's found 14 thousandths of a second, so Reflection looking pretty strong in the first sector here. It's the final 2 sectors that he needs to find more time as well then, but potentially on this lap then. We'll wait and see as we go down the hill then into the heavy braking zone then of turn 10, and making sure we don't lock up the inside left there, but he's done it very nicely indeed then. And now on to the back straight we go then with the aid of some DRS then down towards the next braking zone, and so far so good then for Reflection. Let's see what the Delta is saying then into sector 3 now then, as the Aston Martin then cruises round then into sector 3, and it's going to say he's almost found 2 tenths of a second there as well. Then that would put him into the mix then with Equaz potentially as well then. Potentially could he get himself into the mix with Marsky and Liam as well then, as we head into that final corner. Then the battery being depleted to the max then as we go through the final turn now then to the line now for Reflection. Then what's it going to be then for the reigning champion then as he crosses the line? It's going to be a 28.7, puts himself P6 there on the third row of the grid then. Very good stuff indeed. But Liam, I have something to say about that as well. Then Liam goes up to P5, then he finds 2 tenths, puts himself on the third row of the grid, ahead of Legend, ahead of Reflection as it stands as well then. Good stuff indeed. Wow. Dark Shadow improves then to a 29.7, then puts himself P12 ahead of Vintage. We've just had somebody else jump up the order then. That was Kaz, I think. Kaz then improves on P3, and Tori improves to P5 then for the Williams driver. Then good stuff indeed. Then we've got a Racing Bulls, and that's a Racing Bull of Equaz then up to P5. He finds 4 tenths of a second there. But Sravats has improved on his pole position then. He's done a 28.0 then to get himself even further ahead of Cam then. But can Cam fight back is the question then. We'll wait and see. Mushroom then is going back out on track as well. Then Mushroom then heading down towards turn 1 on another lap. Then Kieran back in the pit lane. Unfortunately for Kieran, then he could not find the time. Then on that lap, then he's coming back in the box. And that car looks a bit unstable coming back to the pit lane in terms of where it's driving. Then it seems to be all over the place. Cam has found 49 thousandths a second. Then that's not enough. Then as it stands, but let's see what he can do. Then no, he's coming back to the pit lane, so he's going to abandon that time then and come back in the box for Cam. Then who's currently on the front row. Then can he challenge for pole position? Then here comes another challenger. Then that is Kaz. But I think Kaz may be coming back to the pits, actually. Or is he, actually? We'll wait and see. Let's wait and see. As we go through the final couple of corners, then there's an Aston Martin, then that is Reflection coming back to the pit lane, then followed by Liam, then who just picked him to the post there as well, then in that final attempt, then at Marksky, then starting off a new lap as well, then. And I think Kaz has run out of fuel, actually, hasn't he? So he's just going to have to squeeze out the way then of Equaz. Then Equaz coming back to the pits as well. Then so it's all calming down then for the final hurrah in this qualifying session as well. Then as we go through there to finish off the in laps as well. Then there's Tory then cruising back to the pits. Then currently P7. Then Marvsky's on a lap there. So let's see what Marvsky's up to as well. Then oh no, is Mushroom on a lap actually, because Mushroom's going through the final corner. Then there's a load of Hasses in the way then, but they've got themselves out of the way thankfully. Then here comes Mushroom. Then it's going to be a 29.0. Then improves by half a second. Then P11 for the Mushroom there. Good stuff indeed. And putting himself closely in the mix as well. Then KD about to start off a lap then in the Williams. Then let's see what he can do. Then Jamie James also the same then in the Alpine. No time on the board just yet, unfortunately, for the Alpine machine. Then let's see what he can do then on this attempt. And as we go across the line to start off a new lap there for the Alpine machine. That we'll come back to that because we've got Marsky heading through into Sector 2, then soon to be Sector 3 then on his next outing as well then. And let's see what Marsky's saying then. In the Delta times then he's not found any time. Well, he's gone purple, but he's not found any time then in the lap so far then. But has he got enough battery then in the pack then potentially? Then he's saving a bit more then into the final corner here as well. Then I think he has done compared to his previous lap times as well then. So let's see, can he make up some time then in this final sector then up to the line then. Battery being burnt to the brink, I should say then, and Marsky improves by 3.5 tenths then to P7, then splitting Equaz and Tory then on to the 4th row of the grid there. Brilliant stuff indeed. Oh dear me, the polystyrene is not going to like that. But there we go then. Lewis Roy said, evening all then, how are we doing then as well then? Well, I'm doing all right then. Unfortunately, I've got to go to work tomorrow though. Anyway, KD is coming back through then into Sector 3. 2 tenths of a second gain then. That would not improve his position as it stands, but has he got more in the tank then in the final sector? Then let's see what he can do then in that Williams car then heading down towards the final corner now then. Battery is burnt to a crisp as we head through that final corner now then to the line for the Williams Mercedes. And let's see what he can do then to the line now. It's going to be a 28.9 then. He improves by almost half a second then up to P11 then for the Williams driver. They're good stuff indeed. Jamie James, has he got a valid lap on the board just yet then? Yes, he has then. It's a 28.6 then. Puts himself P9 then in the Alpine machine. Good stuff indeed. Very good stuff indeed as well there for Jamie James, let's just say that as well then, as Stephen Anthony starts off a new lap as well then. Farf and Hungry Style still stuck in the pits with 3 minutes to go here in this session. Then can KD and James get themselves back to the pit lane in time to start off one final lap then potentially? We'll wait and see then. Kaz is already back out on circuit there and looking to get his head down and go for the final attempt then in this qualifying session, I believe, because we've only got 3 minutes left of the session now as we cruise back to the pits then with Marvsky as well then. So he will hopefully have time to go back out and back round again, I should say. Outlaps then for Cam as well then, so Cam is further ahead then as well. We've got a Mercedes of Stephen Anthony then going through Sector 2. Then let's see what Stephen Anthony is saying here then as we go round that dreaded turn 10 then. Mushroom is retired. I think he's in the pit lane there is Mushroom then, as we've got an Alpine and a kick Sauber. Need to get out of the way then of this Mercedes car then heading through into turn 11 now then. And let's see what's going to happen here then as we go up the hill into Sector 3 momentarily then for Stephen Anthony. Then let's see what the Delta is saying as well then as we cross into that sector then. 2 tenths of a second gain there on the final corner. Then that kicks out and then might have kicked up a bit of dirty air as we go through then on to the final stretch then down towards that final corner now then for the Mercedes. Let's see what it's going to be then for Stephen Anthony then. Can he find the time then? Can he beat the vintage? Can he beat his teammate as well as we go to the line now then for Stephen Anthony on his final qualifying appearance. It's going to be 5/10 of a second, then puts himself ahead of his teammate and ahead of Vintage then with a fantastic improvement there indeed. And P14 then for Stephen Anthony, then KD has retired from the session in the pits as well then. Goodness me, then there's all sorts of action going on then as well, as I think potentially if he's got enough fuel on board, then potentially Stephen Anthony can harvest the battery then and go for it again then. We'll wait and see as we go through the rest of the laps as well. Then Kaz then is coming through sector 2, then Cam is heading down that back straight. Cam has found almost 3/10 of a second, then that would rival Srivatsa for pole position here then if he can keep it all clean in the final corner. Then to the line then for Cam, then let's see where this is going to go then for the Racing Bulls. It's going to be P1 then with a 28.0 as well then. Only 11 hundredths of a second there, 11 thousandths of a second then separating the two of them as it stands. And Srivatsa has just started a new lap though, so he might be looking to try and claim that back as well. Then Kaz then heading through into sector 3. Let's see what's going to happen here with Kaz as well. Then can he try and rival the top 2 as it stands for the pole position? Then 1.5 tenths up then on his previous time. Then going through into the final corner, then the final sector, I should say, as we head down the hill. Then the fuel light flashing, the battery almost burnt to a crisp as we go through that final corner now. Then for the green machine, let's see where Kaz can go then as he crosses the line. Then it's going to be close indeed. Then as he comes up to the line now, then it's going to be a 28.1, and he finds 3/10 on the dot there. But it's not enough to improve his position as it stands then as well there. Goodness me. So Kaz then in P3 then at best then in this session there as well then. Ekwaz coming through, has started a lap then. Of course Ekwaz is the closest challenger to Kieran, then he's found almost 2/10 of a second then in the first sector. Then we'll come back to that one as we go through then, because we've got an Aston Martin of Reflection, and Reflection then improves his time by 18 thousandths. He stays P11 unfortunately then for the reigning champion. Then unfortunately it's going to be Pride from his grasp, I think, at this point in this season, I should say. Goodness me. But of course we don't know what's going to happen in this race. We never know. Reflection might win everything from now on. And there we go. Anyway, right, here comes Srivatsa then. Can he reclaim pole position then from Cam? Then it's going to be close. It's a 28.0 as well then, but he improves and he gets pole position once again then. Fantastic stuff indeed then. Faster than 29.7, puts himself P15 as it stands as well. Then we've got a Mercedes coming through then. That is a Mercedes of Dark Shadow, I think, then, who's done and dusted. Then we've got a Racing Bull. That's a Racing Bull of Ekwaz. No, it's not. It's a Racing Bull of Cam then back into the pit lane. Kieran is retired then. Ekwaz goes up to P4 then, just ahead of his rival as well then. Goodness me, it's going to get tasty indeed as we finish off this qualifying session then with Liam. Liam then goes up to P8. He finds 1.5 tenths then onto the 4th row of the grid. Then Marvsky might have something to say about that as well though. Where is Vintage? And Vintage on an outlap then it says, but I'm not sure about that, but here comes Marsky. Anyway, to the line then for Marsky's final qualifying. Then what's it going to be then? It's going to be P9. He stays P9 there. And Legend has jumped up to P5 ahead of Kieran as well then. Goodness me. So the championship protagonist is down in P6 then, or up in P6 I should say. And he's got his rival ahead of him then. So Ekwaz then is ahead this time then of Kieran as we go through then into the race itself then. So this is going to make it even more interesting as well then, as we go on then into the next Grand Prix, into the Grand Prix, and very soon then we will see what's going to happen in the race itself then as it all unfolds as well then. But 28 thousandths of a second and 82 thousandths of a second there separating the top 3. Fantastic stuff indeed then as well then. And Kieran then P6 and then Tori P7, Liam in P8 now as we go through the order as well. Then Jamie James did get time on the board, then P10 for him, then Reflection P9, KD in P12, Mushroom P13, Vintage P14, Stephen Anthony P15 ahead of Farf P16, Dark Shadow in P17, and unfortunately for Styles then didn't get a time on the board. Right, then we are about to get going here in Bahrain then for the racing action. We've got all of the qualifying sorted then. We're ready to get started then. Of course, the main talking point then is between Ekwaz and Kieran then in the Drivers' Championship. Then can it all, or will it change? Or will it carry on then for another round then? Or will Kieran be crowned the champion then as the 5 red lights come on here in the desert as well? Then 5 red lights are on then in Bahrain. And away we go then for the start of this Grand Prix then. And I'm not sure what I need. I need this and this and this. And there we go then. There we are then heading through then down towards turn 1 then. Cam looking to shake for a move. There's contact between the Racing Bulls there. Goodness me, then Ekwaz looking to get a good start then. And there's Jamie James has gone straight through, I think, then into turn 1. Then there's contact there at the back of the field as we head through then into turn 4 now as well. Then Reflections up 3 places. Then Marsky's down a place. No, Marsky's up 4. Then Ekwaz has lost out then. And Ekwaz is having issues. Then has he got damage then from going into the back of his teammate there as well then as we head through then into sector 2. Yellow flags in. Jamie James has had an issue somewhere then. Goodness me, what's happened to the Alpine machine then as we head through now into sector 2. He's back underway, I think then, is he? Yes, he is then. He's back underway. Good stuff indeed. I can't really tell what's going on with the camera angles here then, but there we are as we head through then. Zaratza leads, then Cam then in P2 then as we've got Kaz then who's held station, the top 3 have all held station. Kieran's gained 2 places though, and this could be his championship then getting wrapped up then here in Bahrain then if it stays this way. Ekwaz then had a bit of a bump then with his teammate then into turn 1 then. I'm not sure if there is damage to that Racing Bull or not then, but he's now having to be stuck behind the well, not stuck behind because Marsky's doing his own job then, isn't he? But he's stuck behind the sister team, stuck behind the leader team, and potentially not where Ekwaz wants to be then as we head into the final corner to finish off lap 1 then. Kaz then is going to be close to dropping out of DRS range as it stands then compared to the top 2 as it is as well then as we head through then on to lap 2 then. Here comes the Kick Saubers then, here comes Marsky on the charge as well then, and now we've got Ekwaz then trying to get himself back through here, but of course it's all going to be a strategy game as well as we go through the race then. 57 laps of action then. What's happened down here then? And no, it's not. It's Tory then. Tory's had an issue then, I think, at turn 1 then. Has he in the Williams car? Then he's back underway then, but he's had some issues there for sure. Jamie James has got himself back underway as well. He's on the hard compound tyres then, so that's probably why it's been a struggle then to start off this race as well then for the Alpine. But of course, he will come back into it then on those hard compound tyres as well then as we head through then into sector 2 for the second time then. And yes, the Kick Sauber of Kaz then has dropped out of DRS range then of the top 2 already then, so the top 2 on a fierce pace as we go through then into lap 2 here. And of course this is going to be good news then for Ekwaz potentially then, because he doesn't want Kieran to be in the fight then for the top of the order, I should say then. But of course as it stands then, Kieran would be claiming the championship win then, championship victory, the world championship, there we go. As it stands as well then, Tory has passed Styles as well then for P16. Back on the charge then is the Williams driver then as we head through then, and Jamie James is having a few issues I think out there then, but he's got himself back underway now on those hard compound tyres. We'll have a look at the tyre situation then as we head on to lap 3. But there we go then, out in front then, Cam and Srivatsa then in the charge then for the race lead as we go through then. Kieran, could he charge and pass his teammate then as well? Then that will help his championship aspirations as we head through then down towards turn 1. Kieran is going for it then into turn 1 he goes then. Is there going to be a bit of team games then? Is there going to be some team orders down at Kick Sauber then? Cam's got a 3-second penalty already then, goodness me then, so Cam's been in the wars in the first 3 laps here as well then. Evening Alex, and good hello and good luck all racers then, says Kamara Racer then as well. Oh god, that was close then. Kaz then almost into the back of his teammate, and now Marsky's looking to get interested here as well. Then Ekwaz then is waiting in the wings. But of course, maybe he's going to have to play the long game here as well. Then he would have wanted to stay ahead of Kieran then in the opening stages of this race then, but unfortunately it's not worked out that way. And now Kieran's up to P3 here then, and trying to charge on to the leaders as well then as we go through then into sector 2 and filter through nicely indeed. Then Legends lost out 2 places. Then Reflection and Farf both gaining big then for Aston Martin into the top 9. Then Vintage has gained 4 places as well. Then Liam's had a difficult start. He's right behind his teammate though. Mushrooms gained a place then on KD as we go through then, as Stephen Anthony and Dark Shadow have both gained as well. Then Tory is caught up to this fight then and looking to get himself down the inside of the Mercedes end for P15, and the Mercedes going to fight it round the outside here then. Oh goodness me, he's gone very wide there, but Tory has snuck through now as well. Oh wow. So we've got some, as Dark Shadow's picked up a penalty as well, then unfortunately then, so there's 2 drivers out there with penalties as it stands then, with Cam as well in the Racing Bull in P2 then. So Dark Shadow, so not Dark Shadow, Jammy James and Hungry Stars are on the hard compound tyre, so they are going to be going very long then as Marvsky's making moves then. Marvsky's up into P4 then, Equaz is going through to P5 then. Kaz has been dropped by 3 drivers then into the first turn here, and goodness me, Kaz on the hard compound tyres is now under pressure from reflection as well then. Goodness me, Kaz is having issues. Kaz is having issues. I think he's on the hard compound tyre then, so it's not going to be the best situation then in the first few laps then, but of course it will come back to him as we go through then into lap 4 then. Let's have a look at the tyre situation as I've been rambling on, and there we are then. So medium compound tyres then for the top 3, then soft compounds then for Marsky then. Those will be very quick off the start, which has been very beneficial for Marsky then. He's already gained a few spots already, but of course they will drop off quicker than the mediums and the hard compound tyres as well then. 3 drivers on the hard compound then, Styles and Jammy James at the back of the order for now then, but looking to try and get themselves back in the mix then. And Kaz then, who of course was P3, unfortunately on the hard compound tyres it's dropped him back a bit then in the opening stages of this race then, but of course they will be able to hold on for longer and potentially get themselves back in the mix then, as Kieran is closing back in then on the top 2 here as well, and potentially could he get himself back within DRS range then of the race leaders. And Jammy James has passed Styles then for P17, and back underway then is Jammy James on the hard compound tyres. Of course they're going to be in a longer fight then in this race then, as the first stint develops as well, as we go through then into the final turn then, and Marsky's under pressure now then from Equaz then. Equaz looking to do everything he can then to keep the championship by the light then. Kieran's dropped out of DRS range then as it stands then onto lap 5 we go then, and Marsky's now going to try and put the pressure on for a podium here. Is he into turn 1? No, he's not close enough then, locking up there into the first corner. Then we go. Mushroom has passed Vintage into turn 1 as well. Then goodness me, that was close indeed. Then Liam then in P10 then has got himself ahead of Vintage, I think, then, because it was the other way around then earlier. But Mushroom then has split the McLaren pair then as it stands. Then KD then in close proximity with Stephen Anthony then, and in a bit of a Williams sandwich now as Tory then is trying to break the toe then from Dark Shadow and get himself up the order then as well. Then we've got Hungry Styles and Jammy James, and Jammy James is starting to catch up to the Mercedes of Dark Shadow here as well, as we go through then into sector 2 then for the 5th time now. And I keep joining the leaders in sector 2, don't I? But there we go. Then there's KD's got himself past Vintage, has he? And Williams then has passed McLaren then for the time being. It looks like then he's up into P12 now. Next target then is Mushroom then to charge after as well, as we go through then into sector 3 momentarily there as well. Then Kieran then has been pushing hard to try and get himself back within contention of the top 2, but he can't quite yet, as he stays behind by 1.5 seconds or so. Then Marsky then in the Red Bull on the soft compound tyres. How long will they hold on for as well? Then same for Farf, same for Vintage as well. Then we'll wait and see how it all plays out then in terms of the strategies here as well. Then it's all going to be a game of strategy, isn't it, there, as we go through then into the final corner now. Then Marsky and Equaz then, are they close enough to challenge then for that podium place? Then Kieran in P3 is you can just see Marsky starting to loom in the background there in his mirrors as we go down towards turn 1 with the aid of the DRS. Then can he get close enough? No, not close enough once again then, as we head through the first part of lap 6 then as well. Then Equaz then is going to hope that the sister team can get out of the way then, as Liam and Farf having a battle. Then Liam then Farf holds on to P9 for now then, and we had Stephen Anthony, I think, passing Vintage there on the soft compound tyres. Have they started to fade already then on those soft compound tyres? We'll wait and see then, because Farf then has lost out to his teammate then, is now under pressure from Liam on the medium compound as well, as we go through into lap 6 already then. So the soft compound tyres are already starting to struggle, it seems, potentially for some then, as we go through then into every braking zone of turn 10. Then Marvsky then is still putting the pressure on Kieran then for that podium place then, as he's got DRS now then towards turn 11. Then can he get close enough then into the braking zone? I think he's going to have to back off then, well, not back off, but not go for the move, as we head through then into towards sector 3. Then Equaz then is starting to drift away a bit slightly. Then he's bringing it back in now then, but he was having a bit of an issue there. Then Legends dropped out of DRS, and now Kaz is looking to try and get those hard compound tyres fired up then to get him back up into P6 as well then, and maybe charge on further up the order as well then, as we wait and see then how it's all going to play out. Then Farf then is trying to get himself back within DRS of his teammate, but he's just about 0.2 of a second out of that window. And Liam might be able to spring a surprise down towards turn 1 once again. Then Housie said, evening lads, then good luck everyone as well. Then nice to see Stephen Anthony back out there as well. Then says Housie, we've got, what have we got here? Then we've got a Mercedes, no it's not a Mercedes, a Kick Sauber then and a Haas then switching places into turn 1. That's a very late break then from Kaz, and he just about gets it through there as well then. Good stuff indeed. Favre holds on then, but he's got a bit of a queue forming as well, and behind him now, so we've got Stephen Anthony then in P13, as Jamie James has got himself up into P16 now, or has he? Because Dark Shadow is going to fight back here then through into turn 2 on the exit then as well then, and around turn 3 then down towards turn 4. Who's got the power then? Who's got the DRS? It's Dark Shadow then. Can he stick it down the inside? Not quite then, but Jamie James leaves him enough room there. And on the exit then completes the pass then and up into P16. Then next target is the points paying positions then for Jamie James on the hard compound tyres. But we're seeing the hards start to phase into this race then a bit better now as well as we go through then onto lap 7. Then of course they will be lasting the longest in this opening stint then, we expect, or we'd hope. Based on what we've been told about the tyre situation in F1 there. But lap 7 as we go through then into sector 3 then. And once again, Cam and Srivatsa then chasing after each other then for the lead of the Grand Prix. Then Srivatsa has held on to it, to be fair, from the get-go in this race then. But as Liam's left the session then, goodness me, what's happened to Liam then? Let me get a quick invite out for Liam as well. Sorry, 1 second. Bear with me whilst I get this sent. Liam, where is Liam? Which Liam is it? This one. Right, Liam, get you an invite. There we go. And he's back. Well, hopefully he's back soon. But there we go then, as unfortunately he's dropped down behind his teammate then as well then with all of this shenanigans going on then. Oh no, Vintage is in the pit lane, that's why. So Vintage is calling it a day very early then. 7 laps on the soft compound tyres then was all they were good for then. Unfortunately then for the True Geordie, it's going to be a set of hard compound tyres going on then for the McLaren driver, and back underway he goes. So let's see what he can do then. Liam then is back in the session, or soon to be back in the car I should say then, as we go through then on lap 8. And Marsky then still holding on the soft compound tyres. Marsky is all over the back. He's going down the inside of Kieran then into the hairpin then. Can he make that move stick then as he goes out of the hairpin? Then Kieran is going to sneak ahead, I think, just about then. And he does sneak back ahead then, but Marsky is still challenging then for that final podium place then as it stands. It's very early stages in this race then, but of course he wants to get himself a podium, doesn't he then? As we go through then into turn 18, turn 11, but Marsky then just couldn't quite get it done then, unfortunately there. Legend then is being brought along by Kaz now on the hard compound tyres, as his Reflection then far up on the soft, starting to drop back as well. Then Liam, I think, is back in the session, I believe. Yeah, I think he is now then, but unfortunately then that has cost him a bit there as well. But hopefully he can get his head up then and head down, I should say, then and keep going then in this race. Then you never know what could happen as we go through then, and Liam is still within contention here as well of some points paying positions. Then here comes Cam, and Cam's on the charge then, but he's not close enough, I don't think, in towards turn 1. Both of them harvesting the battery then as they start off lap 9 there. Marvsky though, Marvsky is getting closer. He's going to go for it down the inside. Oh, it's going to be tight then over the curb then as well, then on the exit then going through into turn 2 and 3. Then he can't make the move then. 3 seconds the gap out in front though, and that is extending then as we go through this next part of the stint as we head through then into turn 4. Marsky's hard compound tyres are holding on, soft compound tyres are holding on pretty well then. In the background though, there is another Kick Sauber, then there is Kaz. And Kaz is reeling in the 3 ahead of him as well as we go down the hill. Then Hungry Stars unfortunately got a penalty as well to his name, as he has picked up that penalty then going through into sector 1 there. Yes, so we can see that Kaz is getting himself almost within contention. Then we've got a McLaren off, then there's a problem there. It was Liam, I think, who's had an issue somewhere. Then he's back on now. Then he's back underway. But not sure what happened there. Then for Liam, then he's really having an issue out there with the disconnect. Then and now the issues into sector 2. Then Marvsky then is keeping those soft compound tyres in check very nicely indeed. Then holding on then to the back of that Kick Sauber. Then potentially looking to fight for that podium place. Then he's just going to have to wait and see then how long those soft compound tyres can hold on for. As we head through now then into lap 10 then of 57, then heading through that final corner then, and Marsky Well, he's going to be looking behind him, I think, then, because onto this straight, then he is going to close in now with the DRS then on Kieran, then. But as we head through towards turn 1, he's not going to be close enough to make a move, I don't think, then into the braking zone this time. Then as we head through now, then Farf, and no, Farf's in the pit lane. That's why it's Farf's then coming out of the way, then getting out of the way, I should say, then into the pits. Then soft compound tyres done 9 laps then for the Aston Martin driver. Then there's only one driver left on the soft compound tyres. Liam's also in the pits as well then for the McLaren team. Calling it a day then on the medium compound, then hard compound tyres going on for Liam as we head through then out of the pit lane here as well then. So we'll wait and see as Kaz then he did bring that gap down then, but it's now extended over 1 second as well then on those hard compound tyres. He's finding a lot of time then through this sector here in sector 2, sorry. Liam out of the pit lane. He will unfortunately be behind his teammate then, but he will be on the freshest tyres of the field then. Soft compound tyres going on the Aston Martin of Farf once again then, goodness me. So he's done soft so far in this race then. Equaz then and Marvsky then, Kieran then just moving out of the way then to try and break the toe then from the Red Bull then behind, or for the Red Bull behind I should say, as we head through now into sector 3 once again then. Let's see who's getting closer then. Kaz is getting closer as well as we head through here then into sector 3 then. Can he find those 2 tenths to get himself within that DRS window? We'll wait and see then. Reflection then is dropped out of that fight as well as it stands, but potentially could get himself back in then if he finds a couple of tenths of a second then, as we head now into the final corner then onto lap 11. So some pit stops have unfolded already then, so we've had 3 drivers into the pits then, so hard compound tyres going on for both McLarens, another set of softs going on for Farf then in the Aston Martin then, and they are going to be looking to get an undercut here then as well then on the drivers coming through then as we head into turn 1. Marvsky once again not close enough to make the move for that P3 position then as we head through the second turn as well then, and we've got KD and Mushroom then switching places into turn 1, have we? Oh god, it's going to be close on the exit there then as we head through, and KD has got himself ahead, but has Mushroom got the fight then to get himself back up into that position heading down towards turn 4. He's going to go for the inside line. Oh dearie me, that's close indeed, and KD swoops across then and takes hold of P9 position there. Good stuff indeed. So far so good anyway. So we go through then onto lap 11 then, and Cam still can't get himself past Ravazza then, but holding on to the back of that Haas then for the time being, I should say. Let's just say that as we go down towards turn 11 this time then, and again Marsky and Equaz in very close proximity to the back of that kick saber of Kieran. Then we've got another kick saber coming at them then in the form of Kaz on those hard compound tyres then, and he is getting closer than ever still. Then he's found another tenth of a second then compared to the previous lap there then, in terms of the gap that is, compared to the 3 ahead of him that is as well. But there we are then. Legend then is just trying to hold on to the DRS there of the kick saber ahead. Then that kick saber is going to get faster and faster then compared to the drivers around him as well then, because they are on older well, not older tyres, but as far as got themselves past stars then, but they are on much more worn tyres then compared to the hard compound then as we head through then onto lap 12. And Marvsky is closer, but he's not close enough then into turn 1. Then he stays P4 for now. Then this is going to resume. We're going to roll on, I think, for the whole racing stand. As KD and Mushroom having a fight then into turn 1 once again. Then rolls reverse this time. Then Mushroom on the attack there, but he can't get past just yet. Then can he now try into turn 4 once again as we head down towards the next braking zone as well. Then Mushroom going very wide out there then, but KD holds on to the place for now. Then Kaz has got a penalty then going through into sector 2, unfortunately for the kick saber driver. That's 4 drivers with penalties out there as it stands then on lap 12 then of 57 then so far. But penalties do seem to be racked up there and around then, especially in sector 2 as we go through then onto the back straight then of lap 12. Then Marvsky is making those soft compound tyres last pretty nicely indeed. Then out in front then Srivatsa is still quite comfortable in the lead of the Grand Prix as well. Then ahead of Cam, who are both they're both running their own race at the moment. They're just working together, I think, then to extend the gap then and keep the gap over the rest of the field. Then Farf has passed Dark Shadow on his fresh soft compound tyres, has he? Oh, he's going to fight this one though, is the Mercedes, and there's contact there between the two of them then as well as we go through then onto the back straight. But Favre on the fresh soft compound tyres, I think, has got himself through, or has he? Because Dark Shadow is going to fight it again, then down towards third 11, then round the outside. The Aston Martin's going to go then, but he's on the fresher rubber. He's got the move done, I think. Yes, he has. And up in a P14. Goodness me. Right then, as we go through, then once again they're carrying on the fight. Then it looks like then as we go through into sector 3, but Favre then has got the place done and dusted this time as well. Then out in front then as Mushroom and KD are having a fight again. Then Mushroom then back up past KD, then into turn 1. Then can he hold it this time? He's up in the P, back up in the P9, I should say then. But KD's now got DRS then to fight then in towards turn 4. It's rolls reverse then as we go through. Then down the inside then goes the KD, goes the Williams of KD. Mushroom then trying to hold it around the outside here as well then, but he's had to duck back in then, and it's P9 then for KD, then P10 for Mushroom as it stands. But those two having a fantastic fight then, and we've also got this fantastic fight as Kaz has just about broken into DRS range, I think now then, of the trio ahead of him here as well. As we head through then onto the back straight, there is that kick Sauber there bookending the pack here as we go down towards turn 11, then lap 13, and well, it's going to get spicy indeed then as we get through then into this part of the lap then. But no, so far so good then in this race as well. Then it's been absolutely fantastic racing from all the drivers as well, and putting on a show here in the desert then of Bahrain. So far so good as well as we go through then onto the next part of the lap as well. Then the question is then how long can Marsky keep those soft compound tyres alive then, and the other question is for Equaz then is what's he going to do about the next kick Sauber behind him this time then, because that kick Sauber then of Kaz is closing in pretty quick indeed then, isn't he? So he is on the charge now on those hard compound tyres then, he's making them work. And here comes Marvsky then, he's getting closer, then he's going to go down the inside into turn 1, he's braking later, then he's got the move, has he then into P3, then he's going to try and switch back as Kieran, but not quite. Then on the exit, has he got the power then down towards turn 4? Neither of them have got DRS though. It doesn't look like then, so I'm not sure what's going on there then. And Kieran then ducks back in, then he stays P4 then, so Marsky has got himself up into P3 there, on track now as well then, good stuff indeed. Then into the pits comes KD, then medium compound tyres, Marsky's got a penalty then going through into sector 2, goodness me. And all of that battling then might have cost him a warning or two there as well then, but well, he's going to have to try and break the gap then. But I think on those old soft compound tyres then it's going to be too difficult then at this stage. But of course he is maybe thinking about a pit stop very soon as well then. We'll wait and see. Oh my goodness me then, I thought there was going to be massive contact there then between Equaz and Kieran. Then he was looking to try and get himself past his championship challenger as well then, championship rival I should say, heading through into turn 10 then, but not quite then. Now Equaz is breathing down the neck then of his championship, of the championship protagonist then of Kieran. And Kaz might have something to say about this as well then in the other kick Sauber then, goodness me. And we're all going to be biting our nails I think down in the Racing Bulls and the kick Sauber garage for sure then. And the Red Bull garage is probably loving it because well, I don't know what they're going to be up to in the Red Bull garage at the moment these days, but there we are then as we go through now into the final corner then on lap 14, soon to be lap 15 for the race leaders as we go through here. So Kieran then, can he try and fight back then? He's got DRS on Marsky then, but Marsky's going to stay out then. He's done almost, well, he will do 15 laps on his soft compound tyres then, and they've done a pretty sizable stint then of this race then, but Kieran can't quite challenge and into turn 1 then. Equaz almost into the back then, and now we've got Kaz then. So Kaz looking to try and get himself into the mix then and potentially help his teammate then in the championship fight as we head through into turn 4. Now on those hard compound tyres then, Kaz is going to be in the better window in terms of the tyre wear then for all 4 drivers in this fight. Then Legend in the background there is just trying to get himself back in the mix, and as his Reflection as well then. KD and now Tory and Mushroom are having a fight, and another Williams then for Mushroom. Then KD is pit then for the medium compound tyres. He's come out behind Farf then as it stands there, but of course this is all a strategy game down at down at anywhere really, down at any garage as it stands then, as we go through then on to lap 15 then, and there is the quartet as we go through then into turn 11 this time then. So Equaz then, what's the plan then for Equaz? What's the plan for Kieran as well then in the championship hunt, I should say, or fight, as we go through then into sector 3 then? Does he need to repass Marsky? And because that gap is extending to the top 2 as it stands then, and that will not be good news then for Equaz then. It will not be good news for Kieran either, to be honest, but of course Kieran needs to finish ahead of Equaz then by 2 points I think it is, or no, 3 points potentially actually. So we'll wait and see then. Marsky, is he coming into the pit lane? No, he's staying out once again then as we go through, and Equaz, Kieran's into the pit lane, that is why then. I thought Equaz was going for a move there on Kieran, but no, Kieran is calling it a day then on the medium compound tyres then, so he's doing it early then. He's going for the undercut here then, is the kick Sauber then. Mushroom's also in for the Ferrari team as well then. So that is that there as well. Stephen Anthony and Jamie James then switching places then now into the top 10 as well. Of course, Kieran onto the hard compound tyres then out of the pit lane. Then I think he will be ahead then of Farf then just about then. Yes, he will. Mushroom then will be, unfortunately, he will be behind Farf, but he will be in close proximity with KD. Will he? Yes, he will, but he will be behind KD. Of course, his woe then in the early stages of this race as well then. Hungry Styles and Dark Shadow are having a fight then on the hard compound tyres against the old medium compounds then as well as we go through then into the next corner then. I think Styles then, oh god, that was a very late move from Dark Shadow, and he's moved again there as well. Then you can't do that as we go through turn 4, and that was going to get close indeed. And Styles, I think, has he snuck through? Yes, he has this time then. Both McLarens then are waiting in the wings. They're going the long game then on the hard compound tyres as well. Then they're going to be coming back at the field just like Kaz has done in this stint. It did take a few laps then for those hard compound tyres to warm up then, didn't it though? But once they got warmed up, then he's been catching back up to the pack, I should say, then very quickly indeed then as well as we go through then onto lap 17. And the top two have stayed out once again then. Marsky's also stayed out as well then. My goodness me, is he going to try and do the whole race on the mediums, on the softs I should say? Legends in then from the medium compound tyres then, and calling it a day then on his yellow tyres as well then. Is there going to be anything the same then for Jamie James or Stephen Anthony? And those two are carrying on as well then. Kieran then is in P11 then on his fresh hard compound tyres. Then Legend's going to come out of the box then behind Kieran on a fresh set of hard compound tyres as well then. But I think he's going to be in the mix then with Farf then heading into turn 1 as he comes out of the pit lane now then. But Farf then will be ahead. Yes, he will just be ahead of the Haas driver then as we get ourselves out of the pit lane then as well then. But Farf then is going to be thinking about those soft compound tyres then, and another pit stop in the next few laps or so I should say then as we go through now. And Equaz then he's not on the charge with Marsky trying to get himself past at this stage. And Marsky's soft compound tyres I'm sure will be suffering at this point of the race, but fair play indeed then for soldiering on those soft compound tyres as well then as we head through. Then Farf has now got Legend for company, and on a fresh set of hard compound tyres then he is going to get himself within the DRS range and potentially get himself up into P11 then and start the fight then as well. Then Kieran then with the undercut then he's going to be starting to close in then on the top 9 who have all yet to pit then. The top 9 have not pitted in this race as we go through now then. And let's have a look and see, shall we, because this is where it's going to get interesting indeed then. Equaz Marsky is peeling into the pit lane, so he's finally done it then. So we go through into the pits now then, and calling it a day on the soft compound tyres after 17 laps then. That was a mammoth stint indeed, wasn't it? As we go through now then, Marsky then is going to call it a day then on the softs, and he's going to go to a medium compound tyre then and get himself back underway. Then I think he'll be out. It will be very close actually with himself and Kieran potentially here. No, I think Kieran might sneak ahead then actually then as we come out of the pit lane now. Then here he comes, and it's going to be Kieran ahead then into turn 1 then. There is Marsky then on medium compound tyres though, and he might be looking to try and catch back up then to Kieran very quickly indeed then, and get himself back in the mix. Then Farf and Legend are having a fight then as well then as we go through turn 1 and 2. And there's contact between the two of them as well then, but there we go as we head down towards turn 4 then. Farf I think has got the position, well no he hasn't then, he had the outside line then, so Legend down the inside has got the move done then on the hard compound tyres that are starting to get themselves warmed up here then, heading through sector 2 then up into P11 now then goes Farf. Equaz then has been relinquished then into the podium places here as well then, but oh dear, as Dark Shadow and Vintage, what's happening here then? Dark Shadow, there's all sorts going on here, and wow, my goodness me then, Liam's trying to sneak his way through as well then. Dark Shadow's got a penalty unfortunately there as well then for the Mercedes driver as we head into the braking zone of the hairpin now then, and Liam is all over the back of Dark Shadow then heading through into the next corner as well then, down towards turn 10, and Vintage has gone through then, and no, God, oh goodness me then as we go through there then, Liam's got himself through very forcefully indeed, but I'm not sure Dark Shadow's going to be putting him on his Christmas card list after that one for sure then, but yeah, there we go. Marvsky then is he's got himself, or he just about had himself within DRS range then of Kieran then, but he's just dropped out of it there, I think, as we headed into the final quarter. Then Stephen Anthony's got a 10-second penalty for speeding into the pit lane, unfortunately then for Stephen Anthony there. That is going to be costly indeed, potentially. Of course, we've got a long way to go in this race still, but we've done 20 laps or so already. Hard compound tyres going on the car, and back underway then for the Mercedes driver. Then let's see how it's going to unfold for him then as we head out of the pit lane. Then we've got Marski, who has got himself within DRS range now of Kieran as well. Then of course different strategies down at Kicksauber and Red Bull as it stands, with Marski then in the fight potentially then for a net podium place. Then Equaz then is 6 seconds behind the top two as it stands, and as we go through then onto lap 19, he's now got Kaz breathing down his neck then on the hard compound tyres as well then. So the hard compound, I think, is going to be the much better tyre at this stage compared to the older mediums as well then, as we go through then into the same part of the circuit. Then we've got Marski then putting the pressure on Kieran once again then as we head down the back straight. And is he going to be close enough then? The medium compound tyre then will be in a much better nick already then, after only 1.5 laps now on the out lap, that is. Kieran then maybe still trying to get those hard compound tyres warmed up then to the best of their abilities as well as we go through. Then KD is caught up to Farf as well. Then Farf might be thinking about a pit stop then. Those soft compound tyres were probably not the right call then, but there we go. Then Farf doesn't make the right call that often, does he? But he's done a great job then of jumping in then and helping out tonight. So I can't say too much bad about him. Anyway, here comes Marski then on the attack then, looking to get himself up into P8 then, which could be a net podium place as well as we go through then. Kaz and Equaz have switched places then into turn 4. Then Kaz takes P3 and Marski does take P8 then, of course, ahead of Kieran, I should say, then, with the fresh medium compound tyres as well then. So Kieran might be looking to just sit behind him for the time being then, whilst those medium compound tyres then are the quicker tyre as well then. But potentially when those hards do warm up or get to the better phase then as well then, compared to the mediums that is, then potentially he needs to get his foot down and go. Right, Equaz. Oh dear, Equaz having a bit of a squirrely moment out of the turn 10 exit there, and well, he needs to just try and keep within the DRS range really of Kaz then, because Kaz is going to be going longer in this race, in this first stint that is, because he's on the hard compound tyre then. So if Equaz can just hold on then to the back of that green machine, potentially it could lead to Kaz actually helping Equaz then in extending the championship fight going on then into the next round as well then. But we'll have to wait and see then how it all plays out as we go through then. Lap 20 becomes lap 21 now, and so Equaz then is just trying to stay within DRS range then of the Kicksauber. Then as we go through, then Kieran then is he's quite close to actually dropping out of DRS range of Marski. Then Marski's on a mission here, isn't he? Then as we go through then into the final corner, then Marski then the highest runner who has made a pit stop then in this race. But he's being chased by the Kicksauber, he's being chased by Legend, by KD. Then Farf has made a pit stop actually, but as Marski sets the fastest lap of the race, then he's on a mission indeed. Then as Farf has made a pit stop actually, but he has of course got very old softs on there, so Mushroom might be able to make an easy pass very soon. Hungry Styles hasn't pitted just yet, he's still going. Then as Kaz has picked up a penalty, then goodness me, penalties are rolling in through sector 2 for sure tonight then, as we head through the hairpin now then, but Kaz is going to be ruining that as well then. That is going to be very costly indeed as we go through now then, and we've got Marvsky and Kieran then are catching up then to Jamie James on the hard compound tyres. He's not going to be looking to move out of the way too quickly, because he wants to get himself a distance into this race as well then. So yeah, we'll wait and see how it all plays out there as we go through then into sector 3 of lap 21 then, and Equaz then is just holding on nicely indeed to the back of that green machine then. Kaz then, is he setting the pace? He's not setting the timing sheet, so like then unfortunately Liam's picked up a penalty there, trying to fight with Stephen Anthony then and get himself back in the mix then as we go through then. But he's not set, he is gaining slightly then on the top two then. Of course he's on the hard compound tyre, but he's not gaining hand over fist then to the top two as well, and the top two have had a very comfortable race between the two of them as it stands. But they're not doing anything too untoward. Then here comes Equaz then on a charge, and Equaz is going to go for P3 on track. Then he's got himself back up into P3 then, and makes the move then into turn 1. Then takes back the spot then back into the podium places. Then as it stands, I've got to try and do the maths then as well then, but so maybe that's wrong. Anyway, we'll come back to that because I think Kaz might be looking to go for P3 on track then. No, he's going to stay behind. Oh, dearie me, that's close indeed between the two of them there. And yeah, that's, Kaz didn't get himself through there. Mushroom has passed Farf then into turn 1 then, so Mushroom with the fresh tyres then has got himself through, then up into P12. Next target is his old foe in this race, KD, as we go through the next part of the circuit. Kaz then lost out to Equaz there, but he didn't seem to fight it too hard, but now he's looking to try and get himself back through at turn 10 then, not close enough there. But the gap's still stable then to the top two. Then the question is, where is Kieran? And Kieran has dropped out of DRS range of Marvsky then, so maybe the hard compound tyres are not the best call in this race then, potentially. We'll have to wait and see then how that's going to fare then for the strategists and whatnot down at the pit walls and whatnot as well. But never mind, as we go through then into lap 22, soon to be lap 23. And Kaz then is mounting the pressure then. He might be able to get himself back past then down towards the main straight, but maybe the hard compound tyre for the kick Sauber just isn't working then as best as we expect then, because Marvsky's on a charge then as well then, and Kieran has been dropped then by the Red Bull driver then. Marvsky looking to try and get that gap then and charge on after the next target. Then Kaz has made the move for P3 on track, that is, as we head into turn 1 then. Back ahead then of Equaz as it stands then. Into the pits comes Tory. Now Tory Boyer then after 22 laps and on the medium compound tyres. So let's see, because we're almost coming up to the halfway point then in about 5 laps time then, aren't we? Tory then into the pit lane, hard compound tyres going on, so there are quite a few going for the hard compound here as we head out of the pit lane now as well. Then I think Hungry Stars then is going to be under pressure then from a Mercedes and potentially from a McLaren as well as we go down towards turn 1 then, but he's holding the gap then just about then, and he can't quite get through. Sorry, can Stephen Anthony then. Marvsky is now within DRS range of his first wall in terms of getting past those who have yet to pit then. And Marvsky needs to get himself through then and away from Jamie James as quickly as possible then, of course, to avoid Kieran and getting back in the fight then. But Kieran then, he doesn't need to go too hard then because he just wants to do his best then for the championship fight as well. Then it could roll on to next week then, but it could be clinched tonight then by the Kick Sauber driver. Then we'll wait and see how it all fares then as we go through the rest of this Bahrain Grand Prix. I need to do the maths as well then at some point, so bear with me 1 second. When I get to towards the end of this race then, it's going to be very difficult indeed, as Cam has taken the lead because Srivatsa has called it a day after 22 laps then on the medium compound tyre then. So from the lead of the Grand Prix then, he is into the pits. Equaz is also in as well. So Equaz then is coming into the pits as well, then he will be behind Kieran when he comes out of the pit lane, of course, but of course he'll be on the much fresher rubber as well then, as Kieran's going to be on 9-lap-old hard compound tyres, no 8-lap-old hard compound tyres. Hard's going on then as well then for Equaz as we head out of the pit lane now then. Oh my goodness me then. He's going to be behind quite a bit of traffic here, isn't he? Then as he comes out of the pit lane, then he's going to be behind KD. Oh, and that was close then with Mushroom there, but he got himself out ahead of Mushroom then into P10. Farf back in the pit lane after 14 laps on the soft compound tyres then. It's pretty mammoth stint on the soft compound tyres, similar to what Marvsky was doing, wasn't it there? As we go through now then, Dark Shadow then is not pitted just yet, then he's having a bit of an issue, I think, then at the back of the field for now. Then is he going to come into the pits now? Then no, not quite. Then he's had a problem there somewhere, as Hungry Stars has had a problem as well then at the exit of turn 3, and trying to get himself back on track as well then is the Ferrari driver then, goodness me. Yeah, of course he's learning the new assists, or no assists I should say, then his Hungry Stars then, so he's trying to get himself back underway in this race, as I should say then. Right then, so Equaz then, what is the gap there between himself and Kieran? It's quite a sizable gap actually there, after only 8 laps difference as well then. So Equaz needs to get a wiggle on, doesn't he now then, to try and catch up then. Srivatsa then was our race leader, and then he's dropped down to P6 then, so there was an undercut there, quite a big undercut there as well then. Cam then into the pits then, he's pitting a lap later than his former race leader rival. Reflection's going to carry on though then up into P2 then. Marvsky's also going to carry on then as well then for P3. Jamie James then on the older hard compound tyres then is going to get himself up into P4 then, and Kieran now in prime championship winning position. He doesn't need to do anything from here. He just needs to make sure he scores more points then, as Cam out of the pit lane. It was very close there with Srivatsa, wasn't it there? But he is behind once again. he's behind his rival then, once again, the Haas, as we go through then, and Kieran trying to go down the inside then of the Alpine. And he's made it stick then, I think. Yes, he has done. Up into sector 2 then. Kieran takes P4 then as well then. So that is the situation there as well then. Equaz then is, well, it's not... Mushroom still holding on. I mean, Mushroom's on slightly good, about mediums as it stands, and he's holding on to the DRS then of Equaz as we go through. Then KD then up the road then is on slightly older tyres than Serious Mushroom as well then, so he might be a bit of easier work then for Equaz to try and get himself past. And that is the question though, you can catch, but can you pass then as well? So Kieran then is 2.8 seconds out of the podium places as it stands then. Marsky's actually catching up now to Reflection here, and Marsky could lead this race actually, because of course Kaz and Reflection have yet to pit at all in this Grand Prix, so we'll wait and see then when that's going to be called as well then. Down at the Red Bull garage as well as we head through then into the final corner then. I don't know if he's got DRS then on this occasion. Now he might not do. Reflection is coming into the pits anyway though, so he's going to call it a day then on the medium compound tyres after 25 laps there then for Reflection. So Kieran then into the podium places then. So Kieran is looking in position, in position to get himself into the lead of the champion. Sorry, into the lead. He's already in the lead, I should say then. But what I meant was he could get himself the Drivers' Championship wrapped up then. And Reflection, I think, will get out just ahead of the Williams of Tory then on the hard compound tyres as well. Then it's going to be quite close then, because Reflection had a bit of an iffy exit to the pits there then, but he has got himself out in P11, just ahead of the Williams car then as we head out of turn 1. Mushroom then is holding on then, and he's going to be using Equaz to bring himself along in this race as well then. Equaz is now closing in then on KD then, but potentially a bit of tyre warm up there for the racing board before he can get himself going again then. Cam then and Srivatsa are catching up to Jamie James as well then, and next target after that then is going to be Kieran, and well, as Hungry Stars unfortunately got another penalty then to his name, but I think Hungry Stars then is just doing his best in this race then with the no assist as well. Then Dark Chatter into the pits finally as well. Then 25 laps then on the medium compound tyres, then hard compound tyres going on to that Mercedes car then as we exit the pit lane now. Then here comes Jamie James, and Jamie James, he's just looking to well, he's got 15 lap older tyres than Kieran. But looking to try and use Kieran's DRS advantage, that is, then to stave off the incoming attack then of these two, then the former race leaders, as we head through then onto lap 27 then. And like I said, nearly at the halfway point of this race then, and we are storming through at this point. Marty then 6 seconds away then from the race lead, then Kieran then 3.5 seconds back as well. But now Jamie James is in contention as well then, and next targets for Srivatsa and Cam. Then Cam's trying to go round the outside. Ambitious, it's ambitious. Oh no, there's contact between the two of them there, and they're dragging wheels on each other as well then as we go through them, and that's going to be costing them more time than to the top of the order. Then Tory's retired in the pit lane then, so he's given up then in the pits, and there's Tory then unfortunately then, so he's out of the race, and first retirement of the Grand Prix is somebody giving up in the pit lane then. Cam's got a 3-second penalty as well then, and that's another 3-second penalty I think there as well then after all of that, then going through into turn 4 and turn 5 then Stephen Anthony picks up a penalty as well then. Goodness me then, as he's fighting with Liam, then Liam's on older hard compound tyres and looking to try and hold on to P12 as it stands in. Hungry Stars and Far from switch places. Srivatsa then and Cam then, these two having their big fight then has cost them a lot of time there, and that has cost them, it's over a second then, isn't it, to ahead of them as well. Then that's going to be helpful for Kieran and for James as we go through then on to lap 28 very soon. Yellow flags then are for Tory's Williams car then that's stranded on the exit of the pits there as well. It's been cleared away now then as we head through then into lap 28 then, and Marsky is closing in then. The gap was 6 seconds, it's now down to 4.6 even then as we head through then onto lap 28 then. So Marsky is on a charge. Jamie James holding on to the DRS then of Kieran then. I think Srivatsa might be looking to try and return the favour on Cam then and get himself back up into P5 then, which of course is potentially the next P1 then down the inside, and he's going to go for it then, and Cam's going to fight it then on the exit then, but into turn 2 then Cam then holds on for the time being. But they need to go back to the first stint then when they were working together then, because they were reeling in, they were extending the gap then to the rest of the field then, but they were also they also need to do that now then to reel in the likes of James and Kieran as well ahead of him, and then of course Marsky and Kaz further along. Oh god, sorry. I've had too much for dinner. Equaz has got himself within DRS range of KD. Then Farf and Styles are having a battle down towards turn 1 as well. Then into the braking zone. Then Farf then is up into the points paying positions now. Then on his hard compound tyres. I just bit my tongue. Equaz has lost out to DRS then. So Equaz unfortunately is really struggling on these hard compound tyres, it seems. He's not got DRS on KD there, going through then into the next part of the circuit as well. Then Srivatsa is still chasing after Cam, but they are closing in now then on the two ahead. Then that's James, then that's Kieran as well then for the final podium place then as well. Potentially James hasn't pitted at all then, so he's going to have to come into the pits. Then potentially Kieran, can he get to the end of the Grand Prix then on those hards? We'll have to wait and see then. Marvky is going to have to make a pit stop then, same for Kaz as well then, because Kaz has not pitted in this race. As we go through then. But there we are then as we head through now then. Cam has got himself within contention then of the two ahead then as we head into turn 1. Equaz has got himself past then up into P8 then as well then, and now takes the charge then as well then. The problem for Equaz as well though is he's still got a sizable gap then to get himself back into contention with his championship rival as well here. Then we'll wait and see then how it all plays out then in terms of the strategy. As we go on to lap 29, then soon to be lap 30 as well. Then as we head through then into sector 2, then we've got Quartet then now making up the fight then for the final podium place. Then as we head through, then Marsky is still reeling in Kaz then on his medium compound tyres and doing a great job so far. Then is the Red Bull driver then as well. Penalties are going to be costly, I think, towards the end of this race. Then Liam has repassed Stephen Anthony then for P12. Then these two in a big battle. Then indeed, then McLaren versus Mercedes in this fight as well. Then good stuff indeed to see. Then KD then is still holding on to the DRS of Equaz. Then Equaz has got a 2-second gap then to try and close in on Legend. And then he's got an even further gap of 3.5 seconds to try and close up to Srivatsa and Cam. But potentially Kieran, Jamie, James, Cam and Srivatsa then, if they're all fighting then, that could bring Equaz into contention as well then, and maybe reduce the delta then in his favour as well. Then we'll wait and see how it all plays out then in this pack as well then as we go through. Then 1.8, 1.7 then 1.6. The gap is flying down then as Marvsky then on his fresh medium compound tyres is soon to be within DRS range then I think of the race leader. Then as Cam's gone through then up into P4, then passing Jamie James then on his fresh tyres as well then, or fresher tyres I should say, then into turn 1. Then now Srivatsa, can he make the move as well then and try and follow Cam through then in towards turn 4 we go. Cam then is going to try and charge then into a P3. No, he's locking up then. Jamie James has lost out to Srivatsa, so Srivatsa is stuck through to P5. Jamie James is on much older tyres then. They are going to be struggling at this stage as we head through there, but there's not too much fighting then so far in this race, I don't think. Stephen Anthony is back past then into P12 there as we go through now as well. Then Liam and Stephen Anthony are having a mammoth fight, aren't they, then in this race as we go through then on to the next straight then, and this is where Liam might be able to try and get his way back through then into turn 4. No, not quite there as we head through then as well then in status quo. Marvsky then is in challenging range then for the race lead here. Then let's have a look and see then if this is going to change then on to lap 31 then as we round the final couple of corners of sector 3, then heading down the back straight towards the final turn. And I think Marvsky might be able to mount a charge then, and maybe if he can try and keep the gap alive when those mediums start to fade then compared to the hards, potentially he could try and get himself a race win on the cards as well then, potentially. We'll wait and see then how it all plays out then as we go through then, and Marvsky is going to take the lead into turn 1 then. He's got the place and he's got the position. He breaks for the line, then he breaks for turn 1 rather, and he gets the position done and dusted then up into the lead of the Grand Prix. Then Cam has passed Kieran, or has he? Because Kieran's fighting back at him as we go into turn 2 then. Cam is ahead. But Kieran, I think, is going to try and fight this one then down towards... He's got DRS as Cam somehow, so never mind then. I thought Kieran was going to fight that back then with the aid of some DRS then, but not quite then. KD's into the pits then for hard compound tyres. He's back underway now then in the Williams car. He might be out then in this fight then with Stephen Anthony and the McLaren of Liam as we go through there. And on the exit of the pits, it's going to be very tight between all three of them then into turn 1. Oh, Stephen Anthony going long on the brakes then as well then, but KD is just about snuck ahead then and held on to P11, I should say then. potentially the hard compound tires trying to go to the end of the Grand Prix from here. Then they've got to do 27 laps, I think, to the end of this race then as well. Then Kaz then has lost out of DRS range already. Then Tumarski then, who's on a charge, and Cam now is looking to get himself up into P2 next as well. Then Kieran has lost out to DRS of Cam already, and Srivatsa, Jamie James as well. Then looking to put the pressure on. Then it's not working out for Equaz. Then in terms of keeping this championship alive, then he's still down in P8. Then he's not gaining enough then on the drivers around him, or drivers ahead of him, I should say, then to get himself back in contention to keep the championship on the cards. Then it's a shame to see, because we want to see the championship go down to the final lap then, don't we, of the final race. And Srivatsa's going very wide. Then Kaz has got a 10-second penalty for speeding into the pit lane then as well then for the Kicksauber driver. That's going to be costly indeed. He's done 32 or 31 laps on the hard compound tyre then for Kaz then. And he's calling it a day now then. Into the pits he comes then. Medium compound tyres going on then. And, as Mushroom's also in as well then. So Mushroom is coming in as well at the same time then. So potentially Kaz then will sneak out in P8 here. Ahead of Reflection as well then. So Reflection, I think, is going to the end of the Grand Prix then. Mushroom then onto the hard compound tyres is back underway then. Did he have a wing change there as well then? I'm not sure. KD then under pressure from Stephen Anthony then, and Liam as well then, as Liam and Stephen Anthony been in an almighty fight then. Mushroom's going to filter out into this fight as well then, as Stephen Anthony takes the position away then from KD. Yes, he does then up into P10, then goes Stephen Anthony, then Farf and Vintage are having a fight as well. Then Vintage, almost at the back of the Aston Martin there at turn 1. Then Mushroom out in P13 on the fresh hard compound tyres and back underway. Right then. So Equaz then is going to start to catch up then with Legend as well. He's now got within DRS. Then they are catching Jamie James, who's yet to pit in this race. Then we just saw the race leader of former race leader of Kaz then into the pits, then calling it a day then on his hard compound tyres. Then is Jamie James going to do the same? Then he's not within Kieran's not within DRS range of Cam then, but Srivatsa is within DRS range then heading. No, he's not now, as he, I think, just into the line. Then Srivatsa then is not got the DRS there, potentially. No, he hasn't got DRS there on Kieran. Then Kieran's hard compound tyres then are 8 laps older than Srivatsa's, then 9 laps older than Cam's. And but they're much younger than Jamie James's, who hasn't pitted in this race. And fair play indeed. Equaz has gone through to P6 now. Then he's making moves now up into P6, passing Legend. Then Legend on slightly older tyres as well as we go through there. But Equaz needs to. The question is, can he get to the end of the race on those hard compound tyres? Then he has got, what is that then? 24 laps to go. On those hards, then he's going to have to do that's probably doable actually. Then as Stephen Anthony has been repassed by KD, and this trio now in a bit of a fight of its own as we go through here as well. Then heading through, then up into P10, then goes KD, then Stephen Anthony, then Vintage is back in the pit lane. He's done 25 laps then on his hard compound tyres. Then Hungry Styles is going to follow him in, then having yet to make a stop in this race. Then he is now into the pits for the first time of the session then as well. Then Marski, that gap is coming down now to Cam. Then Cam, of course, on the hard compound tyres that are slightly younger, and of course going to be slightly faster as well, then as those medium compound tyres start to drop off as well. There's Srivatsa now within DRS range of Kieran as well for the final podium place. Then Kieran is slightly dropping backwards at this stage then, but of course it's not all doom and gloom then for Kieran then, because he's currently going to be in championship contention here as well. Then we'll wait and see if he's going to have to make another pit stop in this race then, because of course if he doesn't, then he's going to start to drop back further as well. Then potentially we'll wait and see. Well, of course, with the pit stop, he'd drop back as well then, but he would then be able to use the fresh tyres to get back forward. But there we go, then that's the logistics of Formula 1 in a nutshell there as well then. But there we go, then Srivatsa not being able to make a pass then into turn 1. Then can he make a pass then into turn 4? Then again, not close enough then into the braking zone, and stays as it was there as well. Then Equaz then is gaining then on Jamie James then as well. Then it's 1.6 seconds. The gap then for Equaz then, but unfortunately as it stands then, it is not going to be extending the championship fight. Then it's going to be going the way of Kicksauber then in terms of the drivers' championship, that is, this season. but that's as it stands then on lap 34. Then there's still 23 laps to go then in this race then, so it's not all done and dusted just yet there. So Ravazza then trying to get himself into the mix as well then for that podium then as well. Of course, he was the former net race leader, but Cam then and Marvsky then have got themselves through then and into the mix as well then for potentially spoiling that party then for the Haas driver. We'll wait and see then how it all plays out then. But Ravazza then after having that battle then with Cam then as they exited the pit lane is now almost 3 seconds behind Cam as well as we go through here. So it's definitely shaken up then in the order as well then as we go through now then onto lap 35. As Marvsky starts the lap 35 as well then, as Cam then has got some DRS then on that back marker as well then, so that was very well timed indeed from Cam. Ravazza then, there's an Alpine in the background, that is Jamie James. He's finally calling it day then into the pits, and here comes Ravazza. He's looking for it, trying to go around the outside at turn 1 then. Can he make the move then? He's got the space, has he? Oh god, that was close indeed, and on the exit there between the Kicksauber and the Haas then as we exit down towards turn 4 then. Jamie James has gone for medium compound tyres. Here comes Ravazza. No, not quite then. He stays P4 for now then. Jamie James then out of the pits then is going to be, it could be in contention, and his Dark Shadow unfortunately got another penalty as well there. He could be in contention with that P10 position then as he comes out of the pit lane. It's going to be close indeed then with KD. Favre's got a penalty unfortunately for Favre then, but I can't say too much bad about Favre then as we go through turn 1 then. The Williams just about sneaks ahead then of the Alpine on the medium compound tyres now as the Alpine now, so he's going to be looking to get his head down and get himself into the mixture then for the points paying positions. Here comes Ravazza. This time he's got the move done then, and for sure, because he's got the extra pace then at the exit of turn 10 into turn 11 and up into P3 he goes now then. 4 seconds the gap then to Cam, and then another 2 seconds then to Marvsky, who's starting to be reeled in now then by the Racing Bull driver as well then. So he's starting to fall under a bit of pressure then, is Marvsky potentially then in this final part of the stint then. Of course, he's done soft compound tyres then for about 17 laps, and Stephen Anthony and Jamie James have having a battle then as well then. Well, Jamie James has had an issue somewhere, because he was not 3 seconds behind KD there, was he? So he's had some problems there as Jamie James then on his outlap then, unfortunately, which is going to be not good news for the tyre situation. But back underway then as Kieran has repassed then into P3 then, passing Ravazza once again then. So these two having a bit of a ding-dong battle as well then. Kieran's on older hard compound tyres by 8 laps then, but they're not overly worn at this stage, I don't think. So let's just see how it's all going to play out then. Potentially can Kieran try and eat those tyres to the end of the Grand Prix or not, then we're going to have to find out. It will be quite a stint then, but we've seen them do, well, we've seen them on the Alpine of Jamie James then do about 34, 35 laps there. I thought he was going to go for a dive then as well then Ravazza, but he thought about it twice then. He thought better of it, let's just say that as well then. Jamie James is back past up into P10 now, and passing Stephen Anthony then for P10 I should say then into turn 1. Ravazza then, is he going to be able to look to get himself back through then on this lap as well as we head down the back straight then in sector 2. He's not going to go for it here then. He's going to stay behind for now then and head through into sector 3 in P4. Right then, Cam is on the charge as well then. Cam has got himself within DRS range, I think, just about almost, or has he? As we head down towards the DRS detection point, which is about here. He is going to be within the 1 second there, and so Cam could look to go for a move then for the lead of this Grand Prix then, heading on to lap 37 and 20 laps to go then. We've been storming through this one as well then. Fair play indeed to all the drivers then who were soldiering on that there as we head down the main straight then, but Cam, I don't think it's close enough then. Is Ravazza close enough here then as we head on to lap 37 then? I'm not sure he's going to be close enough here, unfortunately. Heading into turn 1 then. Ravazza then locking up the tyres then, almost going into a half spin there as well then, but he's managed to protect it just about. But now heading through then, we've got a I think that's a Mercedes then of Dark Shadow then, who's got himself involved in this, but of course unfortunately a lap down then, which it would have been nice to see him in the fight for short, but unfortunately then it's not on the it's not saying that's anything on the Delta screen. But fair play indeed then for Soldier on in this race as well, and the same for Hungry Styles then as well, who is trying to learn the no assists as well then, is Hungry Styles then in practice for next season as well then. So fair play indeed as we head through into turn 10 then. 20 laps to go then in this Grand Prix then. It's still all to play for, and Equaz then is closing in now as well then, with all this battling that Kieran and Ravazza have been up to. he is closing in as well here, so we'll wait and see then, because of course Srivatsa then, the former race leader then as well, then is now going to be thinking about potentially fighting for a podium then, only as we go through then into lap 37, then soon to be lap 38. Then Khan then is looking to get himself into the lead of this Grand Prix then very soon, I think, then, because he might be looking to make that move then down this main straight now then, as Marvsky is coming into the pit lane. So Marvsky is calling it a day then on the medium compound tyres after 20 laps. Then he's going to, I think he's going to have to do another stint then, I think, on mediums potentially as well then. Out of the pit lane, no, sorry, no, we've not got out of the pit lane just yet. Then Srivatsa is closing on Kieran, then down into turn 1. Then Kieran is just trying to push him into a mistake then on the entry to the corner then, and now on the exit then they're going to go side by side and close indeed to contact there, but thankfully not. And Srivatsa, I think, has he got DRS then? No, he has. Well, he has got DRS, I think, then. But Kieran then with the battery power then has kept hold of P2. Equaz is closing in with all this fighting between the two of them then, and could get himself into the mixture as well here then. So we'll wait and see as we go through now then into lap 38 then. So Marvsky out of the pits then in P7 then. So let's see where will he be able to get himself back to then as well in this race. Much older tyres then for the likes of Legend, the likes of Kieran. Then they've got very old tyres compared to the pack. Then here comes Equaz. Equaz has got himself into the mixture here as well then, because he has now got himself a gap then, as Srivatsa is trying to go for it then here into turn 11 on Kieran then, and that's going to be close indeed. But Srivatsa has taken the spot away then from the green machine as it stands. That is, as it stands, because I think Kieran might be looking to fight back then as we go down into sector 3 now then on lap 38. Then this has been fantastic stuff indeed, fantastic battling indeed as well then. Equaz now is in the mixture as well then. He's got himself into DRS range, and potentially we could be looking at a potential Racing Bull 1-2 in this race as it stands, in terms of the tyre wear as well then. That's going to be very interesting indeed, isn't it? Then as we head through then, Kieran is going to go past then and take P2 on track then as well then. Equaz is now in the mix as well then, and as we go into turn 1 then. So all me saying Equaz was not doing very well as Legends pit from the hard compound tyres after 22 laps only then. So a new set of mediums going on then for the Haas car, then back out of the way then, and potentially back out into P8 as well. Then it's a question of, can he get ahead of KD on the exit of the pits here? Then I think he can. Yes, he can then as well then, as you go in towards turn 1. And so he can resume his race as well then. That's quite a big gap there, 15 seconds, the gap between himself and Marvsky as well now. So Marvsky then is trying to make his play then as well then, as we go through here. Kieran then, is he going to be able to get those hard compound tyres to the end of the Grand Prix? Is my question as well then. That is the one that we need to answer as well then, as we go through this final part of the race. And out in front here, Cam leads away by 11.5 seconds now, as Mark of course has pitted then, who was in the fight then for the race lead on track, that is then, but he's now going to go for a different strategy here then, is Marvsky. So yes, we've got quite a bit of a mix here then. 8 lap younger tyres then for Srivatsa and Equaz then, as we go through here. All the fighting then has helped Equaz catch up to this pack as well then, because as we go, I thought he was going to go for a move down there. Oh no, he is going to go for a move down there then. That is going to be very dodgy indeed then, but nonetheless he's going to go for it. As on the exit then, I think Srivatsa is going to try and sneak his way through here then into, oh no, he's harvesting battery now. And Equaz going to try and sneak his way through as well then into turn 1. No, Marvsky sets the fastest lap of the race, and Marvsky is coming at them in great guns as well then. And Kaz is also in the mix as well here, because Kaz is on the medium compound tyres, and the question is, can he get them to the end of the Grand Prix? So we'll come back to Kaz then as the stint develops, but there we go then, or progresses, whichever one you want to talk about there. But there we are then, heading through sector 3 then, sector 2 then, on lap 40 now then. And yeah, we've been storming through this race then. As it stands, Kieran is going to be crowned the champion then of the Event League Season 6 and 100% League Season 5 then. But Srivatsa is going to go down the inside here then. He's going to take the place away then before the turn 10 entry, and he takes the spot then up into P2 then on track then. And he's got DRS as well then, so Kieran doesn't have any DRS to try and fight back with then into turn 11 then. But Equaz is not close enough to try and get himself past either there, so it stays, well, it doesn't stay as it was, because Srivatsa is now up into P2. But it might be an inkling then of what's to come then in this next part of the stint then for Kieran as well, then, because he's under pressure already and he's on much older tyres than compared to the two around him as well. Then as we head through down towards the final turn, then onto lap 41 then, and Equaz is going to just try and do everything he can then to get himself ahead of his championship rival as well here. But the question is then, can he do it then? And can he extend the title fight then on to the next round as well then? As it stands, as Kieran's going for a late move there as well then. And here comes Equaz. I thought he was going to go for it down the outside. Oh no, and Srivatsa has spun the car then. He's locked up the brakes there, unfortunately, and might have got a helping hand a bit there from... as on the exit, then Kaz has gone through as well. He might have had a helping hand from Equaz there slightly, because Equaz, I think, just didn't have anywhere to go in that stage. And Srivatsa then with a spin then has cost himself dearly, unfortunately, there. But he's back underway then. He's right behind Kaz as well. Then Kaz did sneak through, didn't he, then into P4 then, but Kaz has got quite a few penalties, unfortunately, to his name then. So as it stands then, Kieran then in the podium places then is looking to hold on and looking to claim a Drivers' Championship then for the Kicksauer. Then we've still got quite a few laps to go. There's more action then, Jamie James and KD. And Jamie James has gone up to P9 there as well. Then Liam's into the pit lane, medium compound tyres then to the end of the Grand Prix. Then he'll be out in P14, I think. But my goodness me, then Equaz then is he's still in the mix then as well, still in the charge then as well for that P2 position on track as well here then. But well, the question is that if Kieran does have to pit again, then surely he'll need to pit quite soon then for a set of mediums, or potentially he goes another couple of laps then to a set of softs or something like that, because if he tries to eke it out, then he's going to be in a bit of peril then with his teammate, with Srivatsa, with Marsky, potentially even with Reflection and Legend then as well then. So we're going to have to wait and see then if Kieran's going to have to do that as well. Then as we go down towards turn 1, then Equaz is going to go for it then down the inside. And on the exit then into turn 2, then there's a bit of a squeeze, and Equaz is through then, is he? Or has he got, and who's got DRS then? It's going to be Equaz with DRS then in towards turn 4, then Kieran has lost out then for the time being. I'm going to have to get my brain on there and do some maths then. Marvsky and Srivatsa through turn 4 then, so Marvsky then putting the pressure on, then he's on the fresh medium compound tyres then to the end of this race as well, then is Marvsky then. So let's see what he can do then in this Grand Prix as well then. We'll wait and see. So Kieran then, right, let me do the maths, bear me 1 second, I've got to get the standings up. So right, let's figure this out, shall we? Bear me 1 second. So we've got the race next week, which is 30 points maximum, 31 points maximum. We've got the race on the 2 weeks, I should say, which is quali points, so maximum of 10 points for quali, then for first, and then we've got a maximum of 31 points for the race itself. So that's 41. So that is 72 points, not including the points from this race. So this is going to get very difficult indeed. So currently Equaz is scoring 22. Kieran is scoring 19. That doesn't help me, does it? Right, never mind. I'll get back to that then as we go through. Then Marsky has taken P5 then from Srivatsa, and then on the charge then is Marsky then as well. Then let's see what he can do then as we head into lap 34 then as well. Then Kaz is caught up then to the pack as well then, or to the fight then for P2 actually here. So we go through now then into turn 4 then. Kieran not close enough then. Those hard compound tyres are starting to get a bit worse for wear, aren't they, I think? So, yes, right, so 72 points on offer then after this race. If Kieran scores 19 points, he is on, 265, and Equaz, if he scores 22 points, then will be on 200. So it would carry on, I think. I'm going to have to double check all of this because if anybody is listening and can tell Sean in the Discord to get his calculator fired up, Stephen Anthony back in the pit lane, get his calculator fired up, then that would be much appreciated because I'm getting lost. Kaz has got another 3 seconds. Unfortunately, that is going to be very costly indeed for Kaz. I think that's 3 now. 3 second penalties, that is. for Kaz then, as we cruise then onto lap 44. And there we go then. So Kaz and Marvsky are going to be putting the pressure on Kieran here then for this next phase then of the race as well then, as we go through then. So yeah, I think as it stands it carries on. I think as it stands it carries on then. I'll have to double check it, but yes. There we go then, as Legend has passed Reflection for P7, then Legend on the medium compound tyres as well then, similar to Marsky then, looking to go for a fast final stint then as we go through here then, and Kieran is going to be under pressure from his teammate and Marsky as well then, so yes, it's going to get interesting indeed then as well as we go through here then. Let me have a quick look at the standings again because I think I might have got something wrong there. So the gap is currently 46, what is that one? That's 50, 60, 68. The gap is currently 68. No, hang on. That's 60. Yes, it's 68 then is the gap. So there's 72 points on offer then in the 72 points on offer, I should say, then in the final 2 rounds. That is, including fastest laps and whatnot. As we go through now then, and this is going to get close indeed then, because Kaz and Marvsky, is Kaz going to be under team orders not to pass then, but Marvsky's not under team orders at all then. Marvsky wants to try and help the Racing Bull surely. So let's see how this is going to play out then, because Marvsky is on a mission then, and Marvsky takes the position away from Kaz. And is he going to go for it then on Kieran as well then into turn 1 then? It's a late break then from both of them then as we head into the corner then, but nothing doing then for Marsky. He holds on and he gets himself up into P4 then, and next target is the championship protagonist then as well then. And let's see what happens here then into turn 4 then, trying to go around the outside then. He's going to make that move then, and on the fresher rubber then he storms through then to P3. Fantastic stuff indeed. Well, Marsky might have a bit more to say about this championship as we go through now then, and Kaz is now trying to put his team under pressure here as well then as we head through then into lap 45. It's all coming alive then in the final stages of this final stint as well then as we head through turn 10 then, and Kaz is almost pushing his teammate through the corners then as well then, but I think the problem they're both going to face then, both kick Saubers as well, there's going to be the tyre wear, isn't it, as we head through here then. Marsky, is he going to try and play the team game then with the sister team then and try and help Equaz, or is he going to just try and power on for his own race and do what he can do in this Grand Prix as well then? We'll wait and see then. Out in front then, Cam leads the way then for Racing Bulls by 15 seconds. Equaz then up into P2 is under pressure from Marsky as we head down the back straight then into the final corner then onto lap 46 then. My goodness me. Well, 10 laps to go, no, 9 laps to go then, isn't it? So as we, no, yes, 10 laps to go now. No, 11 laps to go, soon as, goodness me. Marsky's going to go for it then, he's up into P2 then, is he? Yes, he is then, into turn 1 then, it's going to be close on the exit then, but he's made the move. And up into P2 goes Marsky then, good stuff indeed then. So it's an all Red Bull family podium as it stands. Kieran then has lost out to the DRS then of the top 3, and Kaz is trying to sneak through here as well then into P4 then, and that could really unsettle Kieran's race as well then, and I think that might be championship on hold for now then as well. Well, it might be, I don't know what's going on here. Oh right, so good stuff indeed. Yes, so right then, let's go through the order, shall we, again, shall we? Because I need to redo this. Oh, somebody's pinging me. Good stuff indeed. Right, let me mark that on there because I need to come back to you on that one. Right, let me have a look then at the situation as it stands then, because we have got some points. No, we haven't. I mean, we have got some points. We've got some points to try and work out then as well then. So Equaz, as it stands, Equaz is on 22 points there, because he will get back ahead of Marsky then with the penalty situation as it stands as well then. So Kieran will also get himself back up into, oh, could Kieran get himself into Marsky's penalty range? No, I don't think so. Well, it could be close. potentially Kieran could get himself P3 here as well then, so that would be 19 points then. So as it stands in the Drivers' Championship then, if the gap is 3 points between them after this race with 72 points, sorry, I need to try and do the maths exactly again, so that's 200 points then for Equaz then, another 19 points then for Kieran would put him on yes, 265 with 72 points to play for then in the final 2 rounds, and so it would not be done and dusted then as well as it stands then, but it's not over. so let's see, because I think Kieran actually will not get P3 as it stands as well then, because Marvsky is now just disappearing off into the distance and he's stormed off. And, well, can he get within 3 seconds of Cam then in the last 10 laps of this race? So we'll wait and see. Yeah, so Equaz, I think, is going to be looking to just try and hold on. Then potentially he could get P2, but he needs to stay within 3 seconds of Marvsky then as we head through then onto the final 10 laps of this Grand Prix. Well, we'll wait and see on how it all plays out then. Kieran then is staying within DRS range of his teammate. Just about the next target then is Srivatsa. Then Srivatsa had that spin and that put him back a bit then, but he's now caught back up then to Kieran as we head down the main straight here then with the aid of some DRS then. Can he try and get himself in the fight then? We'll wait and see then. Kieran is trying to keep up then with his teammate. Well, he is keeping up with his teammate. But trying to use his teammate's DRS to keep him in contention here as well. Then there's 19 seconds of penalties then for Kaz, which will definitely promote Kieran up a place. It will promote Srivatsa up a place as well then. But Srivatsa wants to get both kick sabers and he needs to do one of them on track then, doesn't he then as well? As we go through here then, Marvsky then is on a mission then. We'll have a look at the situation then with tyres then, because those might start to become a bit of a worry then for Marvsky towards the end of the stint then. If Equaz can just keep it steady then as well, then potentially he could get himself back within contention. Then now Kaz is actually on a mission as well. Then Kaz is reeling him back in here then, so Equaz is having an issue somewhere because the kick saber of Kaz then is bringing him into the mix as well now. Goodness me. So Equaz having issues then is going to be problematic then for him, keeping the championship alive then into the next round as well. Then we'll wait and see how it all plays out then as we cross through then into sector 3 on lap 48. Then Kieran is just outside of DRS range of the of his teammate, I should say then, but Kaz might be able to get himself within DRS range of the Racing Bull in P3. Then he will do. No, he won't. No, he won't do. Never mind. But Srivatsa might. Oh God, Srivatsa then is going to keep the fight alive then. Once again then going through the final corner then, and there's no DRS then for the kick saber of Kieran. So the Haas then is going to... the Haas can't do anything. It looks like down this main straight. Unfortunately then for Srivatsa then, even with DRS then, there's more problems then for Styles. Then he's off the circuit there, trying to get himself back on then and out of the way then, but he just needs to make sure he does it safely then as well. But he has done then, so Kaz then not within DRS range. Kieran back within DRS range is going to help him then protect the position from from Srivatsa though, but Srivatsa's going to go for it down the inside then, and now into sector 2. They're going to be side by side through here. Oh God, that's going to get tight indeed. And there's contact between the two of them then as well as we go through then into sector 2, but thankfully status quo then. Dark Shadow's in the pits as well. Then here comes Srivatsa, then he is fighting this tooth and nail, isn't he then? As we go towards turn 10 then, Kieran has let him go through then, I think, to try and sneak the DRS then, but unfortunately it might not be enough then for Kieran. As we now head on to the back straight, the older tyres then for the kick saber then starting to struggle, it seems, here as well then. He's lost out to the DRS. He got himself in the DRS, I should say, of Srivatsa there with a bit of tactical play then, but unfortunately it's not worked out in his favour then as well there. As we go through then into lap 49 then, how long can those medium compound tyres hold on for Kaz as well then is the question. Then they've got to do another 8 laps then, or 8 laps actually. As we go through here then, Kieran then back within DRS range then. He's had a lot of straight line speed down the main straight, so potentially he could sneak his way back up into P5 here. We'll wait and see as we go through now then into lap 50 here as well then. Good stuff indeed so far then. Here comes Kieran on the charge. He's going to go for it. He's got himself back up into P5. Great stuff indeed. Good. Oh God. right then. So okay, right, back to the points situation, trying to figure that out. Where are we? Right, let me have a look. So currently P4 for we've got yellow flags. Yellow flags. It's Styles again, and unfortunately for Styles, he's off the circuit. Then Styles needs to make sure he doesn't cause anything in this final part of the race, please, because I'll be very worried about that. Then there's Srivatsa again, very close indeed to Kieran, and oh dear, Kieran then is starting to get a bit wobbly on those tyres, then heading through then into turn 10 then as we go through now then, and there's all sorts of banging going on outside the window. Then hopefully they can shut up. And there we go then, as Hungry Styles is just slowing down, I think, to try and get out of the way there, but he needs to make his way back to the pit lane as well here then. Kieran then has once again dropped behind Srivatsa then to get the DRS then, but he couldn't make the move into turn 11, but once again he might be able to make a move then down the main straight as we go through then into lap 51 then for our race leader. So let's have a look at Equaz. Well, he can't get himself within the 3 seconds then of Marvsky at this point, can he then? So unfortunately he would lose out then to P2. He is going to hold on to P3, I think, as it stands, as Srivatsa. No, it's Srivatsa then at the exit. What's happened to Srivatsa then at the exit of the final corner then? Srivatsa's had an issue. He's coming back into the pit lane here, so what's happened then to the Haas driver then? He's into the box then, calling it a day then on the hard compound tyre. Has he got a puncture, or is there something else going wrong with the car there? As we headed out of the final corner then onto lap 51. I'm really not sure what happened there, to be honest, but there we go. So, yes, well there we are. Right then, as we crack on then, Marvsky then is not going to be close enough to try and challenge Cam, so Cam I think has, as it stands, got this victory wrapped up then. Equaz then in more yellow flags. Hungry Styles, stop it. So there we go then. Srivatsa out of the pit lane then in P10. Mushroom onto the soft compound tyres then in P11, then he's P12 now, as Mushroom has gone through, then Favre is going to take that spot away as well, then potentially heading down the main straight then as well, then is Favre, then Stephen Anthony then in P14 is looking to try and gain as well on his fresh up medium compound tyres. Right. Well, Eckhuis doesn't need to worry too much if Kaz passes him, because Kaz has got lots of penalties, hasn't he, there as well, then, so Eckhuis will inherit that place back. The question is then if he's going to be able to get himself back within the 3 second range then of Marvsky as well, then potentially, but we'll wait and see then how that plays out towards the end of this race then. Lap 52, only 5.5 laps or so to go then in this Grand Prix as we go through the final stages now as well then. So let's do the maths again then, shall we, quickly, whilst we've got a bit of a break. 19 points for Equaz, and then we've got 14, no, well that's going to be P4, isn't it, because of the penalties. And so we've got 19 points for Equaz and 16 points for Kieran, sorry, as it stands as well then. So it is not all done and dusted just yet then, as Serious Mushroom has gone for a serious charge then and passes Farf then for P12 with his fresh soft compound tyres as well, then potentially could get himself back in the mix then for P11 then, with the extra pace then on those soft compound tyres to the end of this Grand Prix as well. Then we'll wait and see how it all plays out then. 6 seconds now the gap out in front, sorry, between Marvsky and Equaz as it stands in. So Equaz's hopes of that P2 position I think are fading away then, unfortunately at this stage. Then Vintage has got a penalty, then KD's got a penalty as well then, going through then into sector 2 there was KD's, but as we go through now then we'll find out then how it's all going to play out then in the end of this race in the next 5 laps or so. Favre's in the pits then, he's gone for the soft tyres as well then for the Aston Martin team. And back into play then goes the Aston Martin as well then. Good stuff indeed. And we cruise through then into sector 3 then for the race leaders then. Oh, I thought he was going into the pits then, goodness me. I thought that was probably the wrong call there for Equaz, but as Kaz is in the pits. Oh right, okay, so Kaz is coming into the pits then. Well, he wasn't going to keep the position ahead of Kieran anyway, was he? So, or Legend, to be honest. So he might as well just come into the pits and serve the penalty as well. Then he will remove that 10 seconds, but he's going to have to serve it, and it's going to be a very slow pit stop here then as we go through then onto lap 53 then of 57. Then Legend is closing in on Kieran as well here. Then he's got 4 seconds to find. Then he's got 4 laps to do it in. Is he going to find that? That is the question. Then Kieran's tyres again. Can they hold on? Then Srivatsa sets the fastest lap of the race. And of course getting himself back in contention as well here then is Srivatsa, then an extra point then for himself and the Haas team as it stands, and KD has left the session. Bear with me, KD, bear with me, I'm going to get you an invitation. Oh no, that's Jay. KD is invited back to this. Oh, I can't invite you. Mushroom's got the fastest lap of the race now. Good stuff indeed. As we head through then into the final stages. I'm sorry, KD, I can't invite you, but hopefully you can just join back off the old invite. Right then, as it stands then, so yes. Right then, as it stands. Equaz 19 points. Kieran 16 points. Championship gap 65 points, heading on to Saudi Arabia then next week, which is the penultimate round of the season then, and of course with qualifying points available, I think that's 62, 72 points available. Yes, so yes, so the points, so with qualifying points, so potentially well, the qualifying points have sort of ruined it here for Kieran, as Kaz and Srivatsa are switching places there as well. Yeah, so potentially it could come down to Abu Dhabi. Well, it depends on next week. It will come down to Saudi Arabia then, as it stands, if it stays as it is right now then. So there we go. Figured it out just about then as well then, as we go through then into turn one then. Kaz takes the place and Srivatsa has left the session. Oh dear me, what is going on here then? Well, KD left the session, then Srivatsa left the session as well then. Let me see if I can invite Srivatsa in. Can I invite Srivatsa in? Oh, he's not online anymore. So his internet's died, I think, on that occasion. Let me quickly try and invite KD back in as well then, if I can. So yeah, just so we can get him back in if we can. Oh, he used last online a minute ago as well then. Oh dear. Right. Anyway, Farf has set the fastest lap of the race then. Good stuff indeed. Kaz and KD. Oh, Kaz has got himself up into P8, then passing KD, of course. Then KD not in the session just yet, and hopefully he can get himself back on then in the next couple of laps or so then as well then. But as we go through now then on to lap 55, then 3 laps to go here in Bahrain. I was thinking we might have to do a rejig of the order once again then, similar to what we had to do in silver then after mass disconnections there, but thankfully not, as Kaz sets the fastest lap of the race then. Kaz is on a mission then as well then, of course that's an extra point for Kick Sauber then. As it stands then, Legend is actually closing in then on Kieran as well here for that P4 position then. If he can get himself within DRS range, that could be quite interesting to say the least then, if he tries to go for a move then for that P4 position on track as well then. He's now got himself within the 1 second window then. Srivatsa is I think his AI car is pitted for soft compound tyres there. Nonetheless then, as we go through then, here comes Legend and he is on the attack now then. He is going to go for it then into the next turn, and I think I might be looking to just conserve for now then. But Kieran's done 40 laps then on the hard compound tyres. He's waited too long then to come into the pit lane. He could have done potentially a 2-stop strategy then, but he decided to go early then and try and hold on then. Liam's got a 3-second penalty unfortunately there as we go through then into the final laps then. The penultimate lap of the race has begun, as we go through now then into lap 56 then as well then, as here comes Legend, and he's brought Jamie James along with him as well then. My goodness me, then this could be a 3-way fight for P4 here, which is not going to be what Kieran wants of course then as well. As we go through then in towards turn 1 then, is he close enough then? Legend trying to go round the outside. No, not quite then. Jamie James has got himself into the mix as well here then, and Farf has got a penalty. So we go through then. Oh, dear me. But no, I don't think they're going to be making any chopping and changing just yet then. They might be on the final lap then of the Grand Prix here though. And oh dearie me then, as we go through then into Sector 2 then, Legend, Alpine, Haas then, and Kick Sauber then. They're in a big fight indeed then for that 4th place here then, as we head into the braking zone of the hairpin then. Kieran holds on. But yes, as Dark Shadow's got a penalty as well then, unfortunately for Dark Shadow. Fair play indeed then to Dark Shadow as well then, and Hungry Stars then out of the points paying positions, but soldiering on in this race then, and just doing their best then as we go through here then. Here comes Legend on the attack then, trying to get himself into P4 on track, that is. Yes, he is. He's taking the place away then from Kieran then, but of course, as we start off the final lap then with our race leader, then of course, well, this is where Kieran then likes to be passed, doesn't he? Because he can fight back then along the main straight with the aid of some DRS as well. Then, so let's see then how it all changes as we go down here then. And Jammy James is trying to get himself into the mix as well. Then, as we go into the braking zone, it's going to be close indeed between all three of them here then. And Jammy James is trying to get himself into the mix. He's got the DRS, he's got the battery to burn then. Is he going to be able to get himself into a fight then? Here goes Kieran then trying to get himself back up into P4 then in towards turn 1 then. The battery flashing away then for Legend into the braking zone then. Jammy James jamming down the inside. And oh goodness me, then it's going to get close indeed then through here then. And all on the exit then, it's a bit squirrely then from the Alpine. But here comes the Haas then. And the Haas is not going to be close enough here then. And it's going to stay status quo. So there we go then, good stuff indeed. We will come back to all of that then in just a jiffy then, because we've got this man here then who has driven an astounding race then to get himself through then to the lead of the Grand Prix then. Some fantastic battles and some not so fantastic battles to say the least, but there we go as we cruise through then into the final lap of the Grand Prix here then, and the final corner then for Cam. Then Cam is going to win the Bahrain Grand Prix then. What a result then from the Racing Bull team then. What a result for Cam as well then. He crosses the line then. He claims victory in the desert here then. And fantastic stuff indeed then from Cam then to win here in Bahrain then. A great result indeed then for the Racing Bull driver as well then. Marvsky will cross the line in P2 then. A brilliant result from Marvsky as well then. What a race then from the Red Bull driver. And claiming a fantastic result here then in the deserts as well then for the Red Bull team. Brilliant stuff indeed then. Equaz then is going to hold on and get the final podium place then. Where is he? Equaz is going to hold on and get the final podium place then as well then in P3 then, but it is going to be going on then to the final round then in the championship fight then, in the drivers championship that is then. So fair play indeed to Equaz then, putting on a show then to keep that fight alive then as well then. Kieran then P4 in the end then. Legend P5, Jammy James P6 then. They all stayed as they were across the line then. Reflection P7 then. Kaz in P8. KD, I think, will get... Oh, no, he won't. He might not get P9 because he's not in the session, is he then? So Serious Mushroom might be able to get himself into P9. And there we go then. We'll wait and see then as we cross the line then. So Stephen Anthony in P13, Vintage P14, Fast rounds off the points paying positions as well there. Hungry Stars and Dark Shadow, unfortunately, then to the bottom of the field then. But fair play indeed for them to crack on then in this race. But the championship then will roll on to the next round then in the Saudi Arabian place. So yeah, there we go then. It's all going to crack on then as well then. But there we are then in the podium celebrations and 2 Racing Bulls and a Red Bull then on the top step then as we go through then into the next final round, or penultimate round I should say, of the season. So there we go then. That was that one. Great stuff indeed. But we'll run through the classification then in just a jiffy then as well. Good stuff indeed from everybody then who got themselves to the end of the race as well then. So in the championship aspirations then, of course, it's a different scoring system for the 100% league. So it's 19 points for Equaz there, 16 points for Kieran as we go through then. Sorry, I've got to try and get a screenshot of this quickly as well then. And there we go then. Fantastic stuff indeed. So the gap, I believe, is going to be... Oh, actually, yeah, it might not be. 1 second. I need to do more maths, don't I, actually? So it's 19 points for Equaz, which gives him 97. 16 for... So that's 97 to 62. 62, 65. It's still 65. So I'm pretty sure he's not champion yet, but never mind. Right, then let me get some interviews underway. Let me try and invite. I can't do it through here, can I? Bear me 1 second, then, guys. I need to get the interviews not sorted as well because I haven't been able to get people in. But bear with me. I will try and get it done. Let's invite you first, and let's get the other two in as well. Then. But well done indeed then to everybody. Get themselves to the checkered flag then, and we keep the championship fight alive then for one more round into the penultimate race then in Saudi Arabia then in a week's time as well then. So fantastic stuff indeed. Let me get the interview thing up then as well. Good stuff. Right then, we can crack on then with some interviews if anybody joins us. We have got one who joined us. It's Marvsky then. Marvsky then, a fantastic race from yourself tonight then as well. How are you feeling after that one then? That was incredible.
Yeah, it was a good race. Felt good. Nice battles and stuff like that. Congrats to Cam on the win. And congrats to Kieran, but I'm not sure if my maths is mathing, if he's won the world title or not.
I don't think he has, but I'm in the same boat as you, to be fair, trying to do the maths. So I believe the gap is, so Ekwaz scored 19 points then, which takes him to 197. And then Kieran scored 16, which takes him to 162. So the gap 65 points with 72 points on offer in the next two rounds. So I don't believe he has won it. So yeah, we'll figure it out in the in the Discord afterwards. But I think it might be going on to the final or the penultimate race of the season next week. So yeah, stay tuned for that one as well then. But from your point of view, it was a fantastic race then. Did you have that strategy locked in mind and we weren't going to worry about what the other drivers were doing?
No, I changed my mind at the very last minute. I was going to do a medium hard, and then I had a bad qualifying, so I thought, you know what, I'm just going to go on the soft sea work and go with them, see how far I can get up, and go medium, and just be off on offset to everybody else. And thankfully, I had a great start, and yeah, it paid off.
And that stint on the soft stint at the beginning then set it up for a fantastic race then, of course, with the mediums afterwards as well there. You were putting the pressure on then, even on the older soft compound tyres in that first stint then. You were putting the pressure on Kieran and Cam and everybody else then for the podium places in that stint as well then. So yeah, you looked like you had the pace tonight then. Is there anything else that was going through your mind then during that race then, of course? Was it just competing to the best of your ability, obviously, and keeping those tyres alive?
Yeah, just concentrating on keeping the tyres as best I can. Felt like a little tweak on my setup where I can run a higher diff and still look after the tyres, which helped me out the corners, which kept me, behind and keeping ahead when I did get ahead. So yeah, surprised to be up there again after quali, but another strong race. I always set my cars up for the race and not quali, so I need to find a bit of tweak there and start a bit higher up, and I might be able to actually get a win, but we shall see.
Well, good start indeed, and another podium then under your belts then this season, then, and congratulations then for yourself, Marvsky, then a P2 then in the Red Bull family. Well, it was all Red Bull family podium in the end, wasn't it? So great stuff indeed then. We'll jump over to Cam as well then, because Cam then is our race winner tonight then in the Racing Bulls then. Cam, you must be pretty pleased with that one.
G'day. Yeah, I think I'm more pleased that my PlayStation actually made a full race distance, but no, it was a stressful first stint. Srivatsa was absolutely rapid on the mediums, but yeah, on the hards, I mean, everyone was saying that they were slow and that they were struggling on grip, but I just felt at home on the tyres and the race kind of just fell the way it did. So yeah, very happy.
And did similar to what I said with Marvsky then, did you plan that strategy from the get-go, or did you have to adapt that on the fly and just think one-stop's going to be the better strategy here?
No, I wanted to two-stop at the start. The original plan, I think, was medium, soft, but I think we hit around lap 12, lap 13, and I kind of just thought, I've kind of got to get these mediums to lap 26 and then just go to hards, which, it ended up being the right strategy, but Marvsky on the two-stop was very, very quick as well, so kind of like a toss of a coin.
And a race victory then, a well-deserved race victory, of course, then after the issues that you said with your technical difficulties, we'll put it that way, over the last few races as well then. And with two more to go, then can you get two more race wins under your belt?
Saudi's going to be difficult. I don't really have a great track record there, but Abu Dhabi, I mean, I led most of the race last season, so I'd like to say I can give it a good go. My main goal now is I want P3 in the standings. Because if I can get to that after all the issues, then I'll see that as a bit of a mini win.
Well, we'll see what can happen in the next 2 rounds, and of course, then the championship does roll on to Saudi Arabia. Then it was not drivers' championship was not won then here tonight. Then 65 points the gap then between the two of them as we head into the final 2 rounds. Then with 72 points on offer in total, that is over the 2 rounds as well, including the qualifying points as well. Then so stay tuned then for the 100% action. Then we'll be back in a week's time then in Saudi Arabia, and we'll see you all very soon.